Well, this is a first, ladies and gentlemen. We have had all sorts of technical difficulties before on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Never before have I not noticed that for some reason the wrong microphone was in front of me here at the host's chair. But nevertheless, we make do. It is the Thursday edition of the Dan O'Donnell Show. Welcome to it. If you would like to join us at any point during the program, 414-799-1130. You can also reach us toll free, 1-800-889-476. Email me directly, dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, on Facebook, on Instagram. Heck, we are even streaming live via the Dan O'Cam on LinkedIn. Why? Because why not? There is a button I can click to stream automatically on my LinkedIn page. I figure I haven't used the thing in about 15 years, so we're streaming on LinkedIn. Also, our YouTube channel. Join the conversation. Other members of Dan Nation always do. Make it a good time. The rest of the country finally understanding what we here in Wisconsin have known for a long time. Left-wing Congressman Mark Pocan is an angry, hateful man. Big controversy today as Pocan responds to a tweet from Trump aide Stephen Miller, who is Jewish, with racist bleep. That would be the F word. Go back to 1930s Germany. He wants the Jewish guy to go back to 1930s Germany. He was responding to a tweet from Miller. NYC is the clearest warning yet of what happens to a society when it fails to control migration. What he's talking about is the winning of the Democratic primary by Zohran Mamdani. He is a hardcore communist, not even a socialist. This is an actual honest-to-goodness communist who is standing on the precipice of winning the mayorship of America's largest city. He is himself an immigrant from Uganda. His parents are of Muslim descent. At least I believe he's from Uganda. He's from somewhere in Africa, although he is not of sub-Saharan African descent himself. And the thinking is that because New York City, I did not know this, something like 40% of New York City now is comprised, the total population of New York City, comprised of people who were not born in the United States. Not second generation, not third generation immigrants, but people who are not themselves born in the United States. And there are some people on the left, most notably Matt Walsh, I believe I saw him tweeting about the immigration aspect of this hardcore communist being on the verge of becoming New York City's mayor. It really wasn't the immigrant vote. It was the bourgeois left-wing, college-educated white liberal vote in precincts that are overwhelmingly white. In fact, the black voters of New York City overwhelmingly voted for Andrew Cuomo. A lot of the heavily Hispanic precincts overwhelmingly voted for Andrew Cuomo. I'm not exactly sure that immigration is responsible for Mamdani being on the precipice of being New York City's mayor, but nonetheless, instead of responding with any sort of rational argument or any sort of reasoned critique, Pocan says, racist F word, go back to 1930s Germany. Now, he's clearly, I think, calling Miller a Nazi, right? I mean, everybody understands what Mark Pocan was going for. Do you think anyone would give the benefit of the doubt to a Republican congressman who tweeted something like that at a prominent Jewish member of, say, the Biden administration? Of course not, and everybody knows it. That's why the big headline right now, jsonline.com, the website of the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, is not, hey, look at how bigoted Mark Pocan, Democrat from Wisconsin, is. It is Republicans slam Mark Pocan over social media post about White House aide Stephen Miller. This is a genre of journalism that has been popular for nigh on 2 decades. Republicans pounce. The issue, you see, is not the controversial thing that a Democrat said or did to media outlets like the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. And I guess I should give them some credit for actually running with this story. Madison.com, the website of both the Cap Times, well, I guess captimes.com, but primarily the Wisconsin State Journal, which would be Pocan's hometown newspaper, hasn't even touched this story. As far as I'm aware, no Madison television station's website has touched this story, even with the Republicans' pounce angle, just the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel and just, of course, this radio show. But this is a way of framing a story so that it's just to people who don't really follow this stuff, politics as usual. Oh, what Pocan said isn't that bad to your average normie. It's just that Republicans are making a big deal out of what he said, saying that the Jewish conservatives should go back to 1930s Germany. Would he want Stephen Miller to go back specifically to Kristallnacht, or would it be like another evening in 1930s Germany? Would he want him to go to specifically Auschwitz? Like, is there any particular place in 1930s Germany that he would like Stephen Miller to go? Because I'm wondering here. Now, of course, Pocan is claiming that this is all about nothing. And of course, the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel is giving him cover. Pocan on Thursday said, only people who support Miller's ultra-extremist views are jumping on and criticizing his comment. He said he was confident normal people are as troubled by his views as I am, likening the immigration rhetoric to that of the Nazis. They rounded up people in the 1930s just as they are today with zero due process, Pocan said. I'm not taking the false debate of people who make up the racist base of the GOP, he added. No one should. Well, here's something he can debate. Me. I am issuing an open challenge to Twitter tough guy / Wisconsin Congressman / angry, half crazy person, Mark Pocan, to come on this radio show and to explain to me why let's send the Jew back to Nazi-occupied Germany is not anti-Semitic. In fact, if we have producer Pipe Bomb, if you will, producer Jeff is working with us today. If someone from Mark Pocan's team reaches out, I can be reached dod@iheartmedia.com. Obviously, we can't have just someone pretending to be Mark Pocan calling up, although that would be very, very funny. I think it would sound something like this. Stephen Miller is a Nazi. I honestly have heard so little from Mark Pocan. There is not a bench far back enough in the United States House for him to sit on. He's occasionally popping up on MSNBC. I swear the only time I ever see him is on X. This, by the way, was posted on his official @MarkPocan X page. This is his campaign account. His @RepMarkPocan is his official congressional account. Both are pretty equally vile. This guy has been posting all manner of awful stuff, all the while decrying Donald Trump's destruction of American decency in the body politic for the past decade. I have been unfortunately embroiled in, I can't tell you how many different Twitter beefs with this clown who never seems to quite get it. So I guess I am asking him to come on this show, man to man, and explain whether does he think that when Stephen Miller should go back there, if let's say we can get ourselves some plutonium from the Iranians and a DeLorean, if we can get him back to 1930s Germany, should we force him to put a little star on his clothing so that we know where he is at all times? Because, you know, you don't want to leave Stephen Miller in the past. We want to bring him back here, right? We don't want to just leave him there. So we put a little Star of David on his clothes. Well, is that what Representative Pocan? Just so we can track him. So we know we can identify him for who he is. Here's the thing. I actually don't believe that this was an intentionally anti-Semitic remark. I believe, like most members of his party who lack critical thinking and argumentative skills, he was doing what most Democrats do and just calling Stephen Miller a Nazi. Oh, okay, everything he does is like the Nazis. It's exactly like why don't you just go back to 1930s Germany like the other Nazis? By the way, there is something called Godwin's Law on the internet. Have you ever heard of it? Godwin's Law states that every argument on the internet will invariably devolve into comparisons to Adolf Hitler. I have seen it happen so many times. It's kind of hilarious. Pocan is the walking, or more accurately stated, waddling example of Godwin's Law. There's no nuance. There's no attempt to actually have a meeting of the mind, some sort of substantive détente. There's just bomb throwing, all the while accusing the other side of being the ones who have destroyed decency. Why does Pocan think he can get away with, well, the only people who are believing this are the Nazi-supporting Republicans? Because he knows, A, his hometown paper, the Wisconsin State Journal, and heaven knows the Capital Times is never going to cover this sort of controversy, even with the Republicans pounce angle prominently featured. But Republicans pounce is a prominent way. It's a very effective way for the media to cover a controversy and then just sort of let it die. Well, normal people think just like Mark Pocan. That's the implication. Yes, Stephen Miller is a Nazi. Yes, we probably should send that Jew back to Nazi Germany. Most normal people think that way. It's just Republicans who are easily offended by that. Is there any doubt? If I said something about, I have no idea what religion Pocan is. I can tell you he is a gay man. If I made some crack about his homosexuality, he would be the first one squealing like a pig. And I would have Dan Bice on the hotline in about 10 minutes because there's some Democrat operative who listens to this show every single minute of every single day to try to catch me saying something controversial so that they can use it to destroy my career and remove me from the airwaves. This is what Pocan and people like him would far more like to do. He's never going to call up. He's a coward and doesn't have the actual intellectual heft. He's got other sorts of heft, but he doesn't have the intellectual heft to be able to go to toe with someone like me. Do you listen to Rogan, Joe Rogan? A lot of people listen to Rogan. There's a very instructive interview with none other than Bernie Sanders, hero to the American left, hero to Mark Pocan, hero to pretty much every Wisconsin lefty. Bernie Sanders was embarrassed by Joe Rogan, utterly embarrassed. It's a montage floating around of every time Rogan hit him with facts that contradicted some sort of assertion that Sanders was making. Sanders said, well, I'm not sure. I understand. I don't know. I haven't been following that story. Totally outclassed intellectually. So Sanders, at least, sticks to the bumper sticker slogans. Pocan doesn't. Pocan is the exact thing he professes to hate in Donald Trump, a cheap shot artist who can't handle when he's called out on his nonsense. President Trump is speaking at the White House, hosting a big, beautiful bill event. We will try to dip into that when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns. Next.
Classical conservatism contemporary style. Dan O'Donnell will be right back.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas.
T-Mobile Arena.
September 19th and 20th, streaming live only on Hulu. Starring John Fogerty, Bryan Adams, Sammy Hagar, Mariah Carey, Tim McGraw, Jelly Roll, Ed Sheeran, and more. 15 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage, superstar performances, and once-in-a-lifetime artist moments you'll have to see to believe. Get your iHeartRadio Music Festival tickets now at AXS.com.
Summer is all about making memories, right? Backyard barbecues, road trips, maybe finally getting around to that hiking trail you've been eyeballing. But if you're living with pain, those future memories can be stolen from you. So here's a thought. Call 1-800-4RELIEF and try Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free daily supplement designed to help your body fight pain. It's a doctor-developed formula made from natural ingredients. Best part? Relief Factor doesn't mask pain. It helps reduce or even eliminate it for good. Whether it's kayaking, running around with the little ones, or just chilling in a hammock, Relief Factor can help you feel better, move better, and do more of the things you love all summer long. So if you're ready to reclaim your summer, head over to ReliefFactor.com or give them a call at 1-800-4RELIEF. Do it now and get their 3-week quick start for just $19.95. That's 1-800-4RELIEF.
Dan O'Donnell here with my good friend Patrick Lynch from the Lynch family of dealerships.
Dan, it's great to be here.
Patrick, I've got to ask, how are tariffs affecting your business?
I get that question every day. I don't think the manufacturers have fully figured out how they're going to handle them, and they haven't passed anything on to us yet.
So what are your customers thinking about all this?
The reality is we're selling a lot of cars right now. I think the reason is that prices are substantially lower than they were 1, 2, or even 3 years ago.
Really?
Let me give you an example of what's happening today with rebates and discounts. A Silverado last year that was over $44K is now listed for $39,495.
Wow.
A Ford F-150 that was $52,500 is now $45,490 with incentives. A Jeep Gladiator that was listed at $60K, we now have advertised for $46,995.
So, Patrick, what you're saying is that contrary to what a lot of people think, it's actually a great time to buy a car. It's always a great time to visit my friends at Lynch. Start your journey at shoplynch.com.
When starting a new home project, the first step is the hardest to take. Hi, Colleen here with Tri-County Contracting. And with Tri-County Contracting, the first step is super easy. Go to tricountycontractingwi.com. You can fill out a short form requesting a free estimate. Amanda will give you a call and schedule a no-pressure appointment with you. Whether it's roofing, siding, windows, or all of the above, we have you covered. If you are looking for an even faster roof price, we also have our instant roof quote button. Name, address, and email address, and you have your price on the spot. Easy first step. Then, all the steps after that, we'll take care of those for you. Getting you an easy-to-read, clear proposal quickly comes next. Then we can help you pick colors using our showroom or project map on our website. We pull the permits, we take care of materials and disposal. Our trained and specialized crews and project managers take care of all the install and cleanup. For you, it's as easy as one step, and that step is easy. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows. Tri-County Contracting.
After 23 years in business, our flat fee commission structure for selling a home is more innovative than ever. Paul Leby here with Lake Country Flat Fee. Real estate commissions have been under attack this past year, and it's a wonder why it's taken so long. We always knew commissions have been on the high side in this business, and we have strived to create a better model for selling a home. Our sellers save about 50% versus a traditional 6% broker. To learn more or to schedule a free market analysis, visit our website at lakecountryflatfee.com.
Turning 65, new to Medicare, or just moved? If you qualify for Medicare and Badger Care, a Humana dual eligible special needs plan, a D-SNP may give you the extra benefits you're looking for. A D-SNP helps cover things like prescriptions and checkups, but it also helps pay for essentials too. With a Humana D-SNP, you get $175 a month for eligible groceries, rent, utilities, and more. Plus, whatever you don't spend carries over to the next month. You may even get benefits like $0 copays on routine prescriptions, plus routine dental, vision, or hearing coverage. All of this could make a difference for your health and wallet. Learn more at gethumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a coordinated care PPO SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with Wisconsin Medicaid program. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal. Allowance amounts cannot be combined with other benefit allowances. Limitations and restrictions may apply.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the NX Wealth Management Studios. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. President Trump is hosting an event touting the big, beautiful bill at the White House. Let's go to the president. Join it in progress from our friends at Fox News.
Institutions and insane asylum. You know what that is? That's insane asylum. That's a mental institution on steroids. During the campaign, I talk about the late, great Hannibal Lecter. Do you know who that is? Hannibal Lecter. Silence of the Lambs. I'd talk about it and the fake news would go crazy. Why does he keep mentioning? Well, because we won in a landslide. That's why they don't want to have Hannibal in our midst. And today I signed this bill into law. Almost every major promise made in the 2024 campaign already will have become a promise kept. That's very important. Promises made, promises kept. And according to the Council of Economic Advisors, these reforms will protect or create more than 7 million jobs, add 3.1% to economic growth, reduce taxes for the typical American by nearly 15%, and increase take-home pay for the normal family of four by at least $13,000. And that takes place immediately. That's not bad, right? Look, I'm looking at that guy back there, right? That's pretty good. And if we had a person over at the Fed that would lower interest rates a little bit, that would be helpful too. It's hard to believe this is on top of, we have to fight this guy. He's not doing the job. Each point that he keeps it up is the equivalent of $300 billion. $300 billion. So if he loaded two, it would save $600 billion. We have to work hard with cuts on that, right? That's a lot of cutting.
President Trump speaking at the White House, a one big, beautiful bill event, which the White House predicts will get passed in one form or fashion through both houses of Congress and arrive on president's desk sometime around the 4th of July holiday, which is, a week from tomorrow. So not a whole lot of time to get that done. I'm somewhat skeptical. Some big news. President Trump announced just a couple of minutes ago while we were in a commercial break, he did make reference to signing a trade deal with China. Now, this was obviously something that was just said a second ago. I have not received any communication from the White House comms office about this. I don't know if this is an official trade deal, if this is something that would allow the two sides to open further negotiations. Sometimes President Trump uses a sort of form of shorthand when talking about this. If, in fact, there is an actual trade deal that was signed, this would rather obviously be a massive, massive thing. I just don't know whether or not there was a trade deal specifically that would bring the two sides together on the issues that divided them, particularly tariff rates, non-tariff barriers to free trade, like intellectual property concerns, that sort of thing. President Trump did say that he signed it yesterday. It seems to be, to me at least, that the White House would have made a bigger deal out of that, but we'll look into that and see what's going on. My challenge does stand, by the way. My producer, Jeff, has reached out to Congressman Pocan's office to have him come on the show. Apparently, they did call back. We are going to his official comms team. You would think, since the man is on X, every waking moment, it seems, he would have seen my tweets about his apparent anti-Semitism, saying that Stephen Miller, a top aide to President Trump, who happens to be Jewish, should, quote, go back to 1930s Germany. He also said racist bleep to Miller. And even if this is a reference to, as I suppose it to be, Miller being a Nazi, How appropriate is it to just say everybody you don't like is a Nazi? How appropriate is it to compare every single policy that you don't agree with to what they did in Nazi Germany? I don't find that to be appropriate at all. But then again, I'm not an arbiter of what is and isn't in good taste, because obviously that job would belong to the mainstream left-wing media, which seems intent on giving Pocan a pass on this. I'm going to take a look into what President Trump might have meant by the signed a trade deal with China. We'll also get to much more update on the Wisconsin Supreme Court as well.
Out there, and many of them have had obscure starts, and it's pretty much the same for us. About 70 years ago, my grandfather started a 4 generations long business, and I'm certain he didn't know he was going to do that. He owned a grocery store at the time, but somehow he came across the idea of selling replacement windows, and people started buying them. So he bought more, and Lisbon Storm Screen and Door was born. Only in America, right? But it's done well for us, and by us, I mean you too, because right here on 51st in Lisbon, you'll find a massive window and door selection, and window and door hardware that can prolong the life of your windows and doors before you have to buy new. And in many cases, we're the only place that stocks this stuff. This is David Wilhelm. For all of your window and door needs, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door really is your clear choice for more.
Your clear choice for more. Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Find out more at lisbonstorm.com.
Without an Advent clinic nearby, people suffering needlessly from chronic nasal congestion and sinus infections would be stuck with either Band-Aid or sledgehammer solutions. Band-Aids are pills or nasal sprays, and they're not true solutions. Surgery is a sledgehammer, and that's what we're trying to avoid, because most people don't need surgery for nose and sinus issues, nor do they want a 14-day recovery. Our unique Advent approach can, in 20 minutes in our office, open your blocked nose for good, with only 1 day recovery. I'm Advent founder Dr. Kandula. Outside of Advent's 4 walls, invasive surgery is what they'll recommend. But here you will find effective and convenient in-office solutions to help you stop the need for Band-Aids and avoid the sledgehammer.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
AdventKnows.com.
Most insurance accepted.
Are you like millions of Americans who avoided filing their taxes this year because you're afraid you'll owe the IRS thousands, tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars? Well, you don't need to be afraid anymore. Tax Relief Advocates has the solution. We can file your back tax years and may be able to reduce or even eliminate what you owe. With over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, we've helped over 100,000 Americans just like you permanently and painlessly resolve their IRS debt. A resolution specialist is waiting to speak to you now, who will let you know what tax debt reduction you may qualify for. Don't wait. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call our tax relief hotline now to see what you qualify for at 800-511-2503. 800-511-2503. Again, that's 800-511-2503. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
I can see the breath inside my house. This is how horror movies start.
First, the cold seeps in. Next thing you know, you're spooning your cat for warmth.
I tried it. He bit me.
Jason, come on, man. You need a new furnace. Don't you know that Capital is giving away the furnace when you get a new AC?
Giving as in free?
Yeah, but call Capital before this turns into the horror version of Frozen. Call Capital today and get a free furnace with a new AC.
Old-fashioned service you can't go wrong. Call CapitalCares.com. Put a smile on their face at a family place. Elmbrook Family Dental.
So Eric, when it comes to cosmetic dentistry and people that really want a whole new smile, what do you think is holding them back?
I guess they could be worried about us achieving what they want.
Come on, man. You're one of, if not the best cosmetic dentist in the entire Milwaukee area.
Well, thanks, Brandon. Yeah, I'd like to think I'm pretty good at what I do.
Well, then they have nothing to worry about. What else is holding them back?
Then I guess I'd say the cost.
Well, that's why we've partnered with a reputable finance company that can help our patients get the smile they want today with affordable monthly payments.
Achieve amazing results with Dr. Eric Teifel from Elmbrook Family Dental.
With 2 locations in Brookfield.
And just off Mayfair Road in Wauwatosa.
Put a smile on their face at a family place. Elmbrook Family Dental.
Because a great smile goes a long way.
Step back in time, darling, to an era of elegant sparkle and stiff drinks. At Gin Ricky, your favorite Art Deco hideaway happy hour is a real Gatsby affair. Every Sunday through Thursday from 4 to 7 p.m., enjoy buy one, get one Gin Rickies at a roaring 1928 price. That's right, classic cocktails, half-price appetizers, and golden age glamour without the speakeasy password. Swing by Gin Ricky, where happy hour is timeless. Valid Sunday to Thursday, 4 to 7 p.m. Gin Ricky at the Ambassador, Milwaukee's landmark Art Deco hotel.
Hey, it's Vicki McKenna. You probably think your 401k is safe, that it's growing, that it will be enough for your retirement. But what if it's not? Here's the truth. Your 401k was never designed to make you wealthy. It was built to shift risk from corporations to you, leaving your money exposed to market crashes, inflation, and uncertainty. But now Americans are taking back control with real assets like gold. Noble Gold Investments has helped thousands protect their future by converting part of their retirement savings into physical gold, so they can stop worrying about the market and start sleeping better at night. Talk to Noble Gold today and learn how safe and easy it is to roll over your 401k into a tax-advantaged gold IRA without penalties or headaches. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com to get your free wealth protection kit, including a step-by-step guide to get started. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. It's time to get your money out of the danger zone and into something real.
The next generation is here. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
All right, we do have President Trump's exact quote on the apparent trade deal with China. Can we get that up in just a second, producer Jeff? Thank you very much. We'll get to that in just a second. Here's what I sort of think he got a little bit ahead of himself, and he maybe wasn't supposed to announce that, but who knows? You never know what you're going to get with a Trump press conference. Could be major news like a trade deal with China. Could be a whole lot of insults. Could be a half hour of stand-up comedy. It's just always gold. That's why we always try to dip into those. Before we get to that, however, sizzling summer cash contest word. I know. Didn't get a chance. I was distracted by the fact that the president of the United States just announced a potential massive trade deal with China just a couple of months after the press told us we were going to be in a years-long trade war that would bankrupt all of us. Sizzling summer cash contest word is bonus, BONUS, bonus. You've got until 55 past the hour to go to our website and enter the keyword bonus to enter the contest for this hour. Your entry is picked at random. You get a nice $1,000 bonus courtesy of us here at iHeartMedia. Here's the president just a couple of minutes ago, seemingly announcing that he signed yesterday a trade deal with China.
Everybody wants to make a deal and have a part of it, right? I know you and Howard and Scott are working overtime. Making deals with other countries. Remember a few months ago, the press was saying, do you really have anybody of any interest? Well, we just signed with China yesterday, right? Just signed with China. We have everybody. We're not going to make deals with everybody. Some we're just going to send them a letter, say, thank you very much. You're going to pay 25, 35, 45%. That's the easy way to do it. And my people don't want to do it that way. They want to do some of it, but they want to make more deals than I would do. But we're having some great deals. We have one coming up, maybe with India, very big one, where we're going to open up India. In the China deal, we're starting to open up China, things that never really could have happened. And the relationship with every country has been very good.
Sure sounds like we have a deal with China, or at least the preliminary makings of a deal. I have not gotten anything from the White House comms team, which means they are probably just as surprised as we were here on the Dan O'Donnell Show to hear that. That would be massive, because what a week for President Trump, if true. Getting a trade deal with China obliterating Iran's nuclear program, all the while the media attempting to do the nation's enemies' bidding by propping up the Iranian regime, saying, no. The nuclear program was only set back a couple of months. That narrative further collapsed today. We will get into that coming up in the Daily Trump Date at the top of the hour. Coming up in about 15 minutes, give or take. Unhinged Liberal of the Day. It is a doozy. Former Congressman Jamal Bowman is blaming heart disease on, what do you think? Hilarious segment. He's now a talking head on CNN. Yesterday, at the very end of the show, the Wisconsin Supreme Court rejected a pair of challenges to Wisconsin's congressional map. And I thought it was appropriate to bring this up just very briefly, if I may, because the Associated Press quoted one Mark Pocan, Democrat congressman, who has found himself in some controversy, or at least Republicans have pounced on the fact that he wants a Jewish man to go back to 1930s Germany. I wonder if there's a specific room he would like Stephen Miller to go into, a chamber, if you will. Seriously, anybody but a Dem congressman would be fighting for their career right now. But because it's Mark Pocan, we have put out a challenge to him to come on this show and explain himself. Think he will? No, he won't. He won't. Well, you called up his press team and they referred you to another press guy who's probably going to refer you back to the original press guy. Mark Pocan was quoted in this AP story about the state Supreme Court not taking up the gerrymandering challenge. A couple of liberal law firms and NGO groups filed challenges to Wisconsin's congressional map, saying that it was horribly gerrymandered. Here's Pocan's quote. It's good that Wisconsin has fair maps at the state level, but we deserve them at the federal level as well. Unfortunately, gerrymandered maps for members of Congress will remain in Wisconsin. Any guesses as to why that reveals Mark Pocan to be hilariously stupid? The congressional map was drawn by Governor Tony Evers, a Democrat. Unless Pocan believes that Evers is a secret Republican double agent who drew his people's maps in order to screw Pocan and any other Democrat trying to run for Congress in Wisconsin, he's an ignorant buffoon. This proves it. I would also ask Pocan about that quote. Now, if I were an honest broker working at the Associated Press, I would immediately point out that it was, in fact, Governor Evers, a Democrat, who drew that congressional map. But you have to actually go down to one of the final paragraphs of the entire piece to learn this. The current congressional maps drawn by Democratic Governor Tony Evers were approved by the state Supreme Court when it was controlled by conservative judges. The U.S. Supreme Court in March 2022 declined to block them from taking effect. And last year, the state Supreme Court rejected a request to reconsider the maps without giving a reason as to why. Because they're not gerrymandered. If anything, the Bryan-style district in southern Wisconsin is about as gerrymandered as a district gets. So in that sense, maybe Pocan isn't a total boob, but it's gerrymandered to try to cost a Republican votes because it goes all the way up into southern Milwaukee County. You get all the way up into like Cudahy and St. Francis in what was traditionally the southern Wisconsin district. And this is designed to draw in as many Democrats as humanly possible. The entire plan was, by the way, to redraw those maps so that there was no way Style or Van Orden, Derek Van Orden, the congressman from western Wisconsin, who Mark Pocan always is feuding with online. It is absolutely hilarious to watch these two go back and forth on X. I would join X and follow nobody but Derek Van Orden and Mark Pocan because they fight like cats and dogs doesn't even do it justice. This is like saber-toothed tigers versus werewolves. That's how these two fight, like cats and dogs. And it's constant. It is, honest to goodness, constant. Democrats wanted to gerrymander those maps. They thought the election of Susan Crawford was going to do it. If you listen to this show at all before the state Supreme Court election, you would have heard me talk about this almost nonstop because it was the plan. They openly, well, not openly, the New York Times reported on a teleconference that Crawford attended, the title of which was "A Chance to Put 2 More Congressional Seats in Play in 2026. Elect Susan Crawford, the court stays liberal, and they would immediately file a challenge to the congressional map. Crawford, it was understood, would vote to strike down that map. Now, why didn't they do it when given the chance? The biggest reason, I think, was the Wisconsin Supreme Court got utterly humiliated a couple of weeks ago when it was overturned 9-0 by the United States Supreme Court, with the wise Latina herself, Sonia Sotomayor, writing for the majority in a case involving Catholic charities trying to opt out of Wisconsin's unemployment insurance benefits program. The Wisconsin Supreme Court treated Catholic charities differently than any other religious organization. That is grossly unconstitutional. And even Sonia Sotomayor and Ketanji Brown Jackson realized it. It is my very strong belief, and I can actually prove that this is my very strong belief because I wrote a column about this, that this would likely give the justices cold feet about trying to gerrymander the state congressional map, just like they did the state legislative map, because a congressional map would be immediately appealed to the federal courts. It might not get to the U.S. Supreme Court, but the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals down in Chicago would strike down any effort to change this, because the obvious logical contradiction here is, wait, a map drawn by a Democrat governor is somehow gerrymandered to give an advantage to Republicans. Is that what you're saying? It's obviously nonsense. It was just pretext to actually gerrymander the maps even more in favor of Democrats. It is also my belief that this show and the state Supreme Court election helped make the justices squeamish about doing this. Me, for 3 hours every afternoon in Milwaukee and Madison, all across the state via the iHeart app, all across the country. And we really did make this race a national race based on that. That was the issue that got Elon Musk involved. That was the issue that got all manner of national conservatives involved in this race. Too little, too late, I believe. But it was the fear of losing the congressional majority, losing the House majority, when finally Hakeem Jeffries said the quiet part out loud about 2 weeks before Election Day. Nobody could, write me off as some right-wing kook who's peddling in conspiracy theories. No, you've got the leader of the Democrats in the House saying, hey, if we get this woman elected, we can pick up 2 more seats because we're just going to gerrymander those districts. People were saying, oh my God, O'Donnell was right. Yeah, I was. Me hammering this, and more importantly, this issue becoming a big national one ahead of that Supreme Court race, was, I think, a big factor. And then when the Catholic Charities decision came down, it was almost fait accompli. There was no way the lib justices were going to put themselves out there to potentially be embarrassingly overturned by a federal court or the Supreme Court. Again, we named the unhinged liberal of the day when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns in just a couple of minutes.
From the Lynch Chevrolet of Kenosha Total Traffic Center. 20 minutes both sides of 4145 between the Zoo and Good Hope. Northbound delays break after Hampton. Southbound delays past Capitol. And over on 94 westbound, 12 out to Moreland, 13 back in. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Looking for affordable blinds, shades, or shutters for your home? Don't hire an expensive pro. Check out Blindster.com, where we offer custom-made window coverings at guaranteed low prices with a team of pros ready to help you every step of the way. Blindster.com.
Dan O'Donnell here with my friend Daniel from Bayview Shade and Blind. Daniel, I love the work you guys did at our new home, and more importantly, my wife loves it too.
Appreciate that, Dan. We work with folks who really value having a trusted guide to walk them through the whole process, from choosing the right window treatments to professional installation. That's how we do it at Bayview Shade.
And you know what, Daniel? It really shows. Go to BayviewShade.com. They're sharing a little sunshine from their family to yours for 99 years.
Our home sure feels empty now that the kids are gone. Maybe it's time to start thinking about a new home in a size that fits our life. With Volinsky Condos, we'll get peace of mind without sacrificing amenities. Plus, accessibility features like the no-step garage entry and wide hallways allow us to live comfortably today and 10 years from now. Visit Volinsky.com to learn more.
The Buy 5, Save 5 deals at Meijer are a great way to stock up on all your 4th of July celebration supplies. Buy 5 or more and save $5 or more when you mix or match hundreds of items, like 24 packs of select Coca-Cola and Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable. Oscar Mayer Classic Beef Franks, Kraft Shredded or Chunk Cheese, Dole Chopped or Premium Salad Kits, and Dixie Family Pack plates, bowls, or hot cups. The Buy 5, Save 5 deals at Meijer. That's the good life. A good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
You've got an app for your music, but what about your favorite morning show, sports team, or live local news and weather?
Things start to change.
Yep, there's an app for all that too. iHeartRadio. Download the #1 app for radio, the free iHeartRadio app.
Are you on track to achieve your retirement plans? Hi, I'm Jeff Kowal of Kowal Investment Group. We've recently joined Creative Planning, a national registered investment advisor. This move to Creative expands our ability to provide comprehensive wealth management, investment advisory, and retirement planning services. Now's the time to put your lifetime of hard work into action. For over 37 years, we've helped clients toward making their retirement dreams become a reality, and we'd like to help you too. And the best part, your plan will be completely tailored to you. Our in-house team of specialists will take the time to learn about you and your family, review your current situation, and find out what your goals are. Then we'll design a plan to help you get there. To get started, request your free meeting today with one of our fiduciary advisors by visiting creativeplanning.com. Whether you have met with us in the past or this will be your first meeting with us, we're excited to introduce Kowal Investment Group to you as Creative Planning. Visit creativeplanning.com today.
Wisconsin-grown, healthy, and gorgeous lifelong perennial happiness is available right now.
Buy perennials directly from your grower right here in New Berlin.
Make every normal day abnormally beautiful. Prospect Hill, Bloomsite.com.
Honey, I want to look at organizing our house better. We need to make more space to get organized. I can't seem to find anything around here. Nothing is organized, and the garage is an absolute mess. You know, the neighbors just had tailored closets come in, and they loved the results. We should give them a call.
I agree. The kids seem to leave everything everywhere because there's no defined organized space. That sounds like a great plan. You get the closets redone and organized. I get my garage organized with an awesome garage floor.
Deal.
Hi, I'm Kevin. Almost 15 years ago, I had the tailored closet featuring Premier Garage do my epoxy garage floor, garage cabinets, and my closets in my home. I was so impressed with the results. We bought the company and added it to our existing growing business. Let us help you. Give us a call for a free consultation at 262-875-3010. That's 262-875-3010. Or visit us online at premiergarage.com. That's premiergarage.com.
Critical events drive critical times, and these are the times to learn critical lessons. Recent events should teach us that the struggle for liberty is ongoing, and forces that are misguided or sinister stand at the ready to take our liberties away. At News Talk 1130 WISN, we are dedicated to identifying the risks to our freedoms as they arise, and to alert you to those risks, valuing our liberties and our rights. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
Intelligent discourse, irreverent fun. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. We try to do both in equal measure. In the 5 o'clock hour, lest you think that your humble host. All right, I'm not that humble. I'm a cocky son of a gun. But I can admit when I was wrong. And lest you think, ladies and gentlemen, that your emails, your texts have no bearing on what I do or how I do the show, I'm going to actually respond to a listener who actually made a very substantive critique that made me rethink everything I said. I went both barrels blazing at a Republican candidate by the name of Bill Berrien earlier this week because of his support for ranked choice voting. And I sort of dismissed him and said, oh, should I destroy his campaign? Just very flippantly dismissing him. And a listener said, you know what? I'm a longtime listener. I was very disappointed by that. And I kind of thought about that and said, yeah, you know what? I don't endorse in primaries. This listener said, hey, Dan, you said you never endorse in primaries. Doesn't this violate your rule saying, hey, I hate this guy in a primary? Yes, it does. How dare you point out the holes in my logic? But during the 5 o'clock hour, I am actually going to explain not, why I'm not a fan of Bill Berrien, but why ranked choice voting, which just resulted in quite possibly the most left-wing major political figure ever emerging from the New York Democrat mayoral primary, why ranked choice voting is quite possibly the worst scheme ever concocted, and sort of explain how I just can never get behind anybody who would even think about getting behind that. Before we get into that, hopefully intelligent discourse, let's have some irreverent fun and name the unhinged liberal of the day.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany. Does that make me crazy?
All white people are racist.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is dangerous because he's evil.
America is over.
Today's unhinged liberal of the day is former New York Congressman and current CNN talking head Jamal Bowman, who last night on CNN Tonight, also known as the show where Scott Jennings just owns the libs over and over and over again. Seriously, if you've never watched that man work, he is by far the most talented conservative we've got going today. Bowman said the reason black men have so many heart attacks is because they get called the N-word all day.
I'm a black man in America. The reason why heart disease...
I'm white, I can't comment.
Listen to what I'm saying. The reason why heart disease and cancer and obesity and diabetes are bigger in the black community is because of the stress we carry from having to deal with being called the N-word directly or indirectly every day. If your colleagues would listen and try to learn and engage and grow and stop being so hateful, we could have a better country.
Yes, heart attacks because of the N-word. Jamal Bowman, your unhinged liberal of the day.
Listen to Sean Hannity, weekday evenings 6 to 9 on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee. And make WISN the #1 preset on your car radio and on the new iHeart app. Free never sounded so good.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Michaels. We're waiting to see what's next after the Wisconsin Supreme Court rejected a bid to reconsider the state's congressional maps. Fox 6's Carl Deffenbaugh.
So that means the current congressional districts will likely remain in place for next year's midterm elections. Now, Democrats had been pushing to change the boundaries for future elections. Republicans hold 6 of the state's 8 U.S. House seats.
And Wisconsin's Democratic U.S. Senator has introduced the No War Against Iran Act.
Senator Tammy Baldwin wants to prohibit use of federal funds for any use of force in or against Iran without specific congressional authorization. The bill's led by Vermont independent Bernie Sanders. It lacks any Republican co-sponsors. Bob Haig, Wisconsin Radio Network.
The 4 o'clock business report brought to you by the Good Feet store. The Dow up today, 404 points. The NASDAQ gained 194 while the S&P rose 48. Checking the Holiday Automotive Fond du Lac Sports Scoreboard. Brewers have the day off today. They're home to play the Rockies over the weekend starting tomorrow night. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Dave Michaels on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Here's the latest forecast presented by AdventKnows.com from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Another day with isolated showers and thunderstorms becoming a bit more numerous later in the day. High today near 88 as the heat returns. Should be cooler lakeside as a northeast breeze kicks in. Overnight tonight, more rain and thunderstorms, 68, and yet more rain tomorrow morning, 82. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you want the lowest price. With their lowest price guarantee, if you find a qualifying lower price on the same item, they'll match it. Price match applies to the same item, current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how they'll match price at Lowe's.com/lowest price guarantee.
Summer is all about making memories, right? Backyard barbecues, road trips, maybe finally getting around to that hiking trail you've been eyeballing. But if you're living with pain, those future memories can be stolen from you. So here's a thought. Call 1-800-4RELIEF and try Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free daily supplement designed to help your body fight pain. It's a doctor-developed formula made from natural ingredients. Best part? Relief Factor doesn't mask pain. It helps reduce or even eliminate it for good. Whether it's kayaking, running around with the little ones, or just chilling in a hammock, Relief Factor can help you feel better, move better, and do more of the things you love all summer long. So if you're ready to reclaim your summer, head over to ReliefFactor.com or give them a call at 1-800-4RELIEF. Do it now and get their 3-week quick start for just $19.95. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
With warmer weather arriving, we all know our energy bills will be spiking right along with the temperatures. Your money will be flying out of your home faster than that expensive cold air you paid for. Hi, it's Jay Weber from my friends at Semperfi Roofing with a tip on how to beat the heat. The 2 main areas that a home loses cool air are from your roof and your windows, and those are the 2 areas that Semperfi specializes in. They offer a free 21-point roof and window inspection to find out if they're causing your AC unit to work harder, which can double or even triple your energy bills. Yes, it's free, and there will be no high-pressure sales tactics afterward. Usually, an inexpensive repair can fix any problems they may find, but if it's time for a new roof, you can get $500 off of your project, plus no interest and no payment financing until 2027. So set up your free, no-obligation 21-point roof and window inspection today. 262-600-2910. That's 600-2910, or online at SemperFiRoofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi.
Imagine your home totally organized. At Closets by Design, we specialize in providing affordable, custom-built storage solutions with built-ins and beyond. From walk-in closets to new laundry rooms and pantries, our experienced designers work within your budget to design a solution fit perfectly to your needs. Get 40% off plus an additional 15% with 18-month financing. Visit closetsbydesign.com or call 1-800-BY-DESIGN to get started. Let's get organized together.
Henry Wadsworth Longfellow famously said, "Into each person's life, some rain must fall." At Ryan Waterproofing, we tend to agree, as long as it's not in your basement. Free estimates, because praying for drought is overrated. Ryan Waterproofing. Call Ryan.com. That's call, RION.com.
From the place you want to go, Lynch McGuanago Traffic Center.
Panic strikes as you realize on Wednesday that Thursday is your anniversary. The reservations being secured.
We'll see you at 8.
The gift being purchased. Yeah, you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with early pay up to 2 days early on direct deposits. So even though they call you Last Minute Lisa, we'll make your last minute scrambling a bit easier. You've got this with early pay from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
We're fired up for the 4th at Fleet Farm with deals that'll help you celebrate in style. Save $200 on a Traeger Woodridge pellet grill. On sale now for $699.99. Stay hydrated with 8 packs of Gatorade, 2 for $15. And get 1-gallon 4-packs of Liquid Pool Shock for just $14.99. Get ready for Independence Day with these specials and more at your local Fleet Farm. And check out all the items in our weekly ad, backed by our best price guarantee at fleetfarm.com.
Wisconsin's most listened to radio station. News Talk 1130 WISN.
Big congratulations to Con Knippel of Wisconsin Lutheran, Duke University, and now the Charlotte Hornets. He was the 4th overall pick in last night's NBA draft. The first round aired last night. Second round, when the Bucks finally pick, will be tonight. Knippel is the highest ranked Wisconsin-born player ever to be picked in the NBA draft. What an incredible accomplishment. He was initially projected when draft season started right around the end of the NCAA tournament in early April to be the 8th, 9th, 10th pick, somewhere in there. But because of his just lights out shooting, and I think, frankly, the fact that once you interview him and realize what a good kid he is, it's impossible not to think he'll be a great NBA teammate. So congratulations to him, and we wish him all the best. You'd better believe that I'll be there the first time the Charlotte Hornets take on the Milwaukee Bucks. In fact, don't want to brag, but Con's parents, Con Knippel Sr. and Sherry Nordgaard Knippel, the all-time leading scorer. Actually, Con Sr. is the all-time leading scorer at Wisconsin Lutheran College, and Sherry is the all-time leading scorer at UW Green Bay. She's also the brother of Jeff Nordgaard, who I believe is still the all-time leading scorer for the men at UWGB. He was also the coach there for a while. Just an incredible basketball-playing family. They are also, I don't want to out them, they're huge conservatives and apparently big fans of this show. Our own Mark Belling tweeted out that Con is a Belling baby and started listening to Mark's show when he was 6 years old. And Con is probably, 18, 19 now? So that means he started listening when he was 13 years ago. In the 87th year of the Mark Belling Late Afternoon Show. He caught him, right when Mark was hitting his prime. He had just turned 113 years old. We kid. You can listen to the Mark Belling show. The Mark Belling podcast. Mark Belling podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to podcast. Wait, what do you do? My producer is in there. My producer in there is making gestures that would make Mark Pocan blush. What, my shameless corporatism, plugging other corporate products? Do you have any idea how many times I make fun of the stupid podcasts that they advertise on this show? I'll pump the Jay Weber podcast, the Ben Yout podcast, the Vicky McKenna podcast, the Belling podcast, all of which tied for second best podcast in America behind the Dan O'Donnell Show podcast. So it's incredible. Those guys, no, my ego's not that big. We are just so blessed to have had some of the absolute greats in talk radio. Belling, Jay, Ben just started a couple of my. I am thoroughly entertained by Ben Yount. Every time I hear him on the air, I just remember why I think he's such a talented broadcaster. He's got a much better voice than I do. That's for doggone sure. He's deep, powerful. I mean, the man is like 7'4". He look. Honest to goodness, Ben. People ask, what do these guys look like? People are, well, first of all, for me, you can just turn on the Dano cam, see what I look like. There's this aura of mystery. Picture a ginger Viking, and you will get Benjamin Yount. Yeah, he looks like Torvald. Was it Torvald from Game of Thrones? The wildling who's buddies with Jon Snow. Just look up wildling with the beard. And it is, I'm telling you, should I put a comparison picture? I'm going to use Ben's picture from McIver Institute and put it next to this guy from Game of Thrones. He's like the wildling leader on Game of Thrones. It is uncanny how much Ben looks like him. And with that, a bunch of people just clicked away from my broadcast to go see what Ben Yount looks like. 4 o'clock word in the sizzling summer cash contest. By the way, we did have the 5 o'clock winner yesterday. I don't have the name in front of me. I apologize. I'm sure his name was Bob because like 50% of our listeners who win this contest are named Bob. I don't know what it is, but if you are named Bob, you have like a 75% chance higher of winning this contest. He was from Kenosha, I believe. This hour's word is check, CHECK, check. You've got until 55 past the hour to go to our website and enter the keyword check. Good luck to everybody, especially those of you named Bob.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning.
Well, a whole lot of winning for the Trump administration.
We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
Time now for the daily Trump date. Each and every day here on the Dan O'Donnell Show, we open up the 4 o'clock hour as you are driving home from work with all things that went on in Trump world. Because look, we know you're busy. We know you work hard. We know you want to get up to date on what just might be the single busiest, most effective White House in any of our lifetimes. And I am absolutely convinced of that. So what we do is give you a quick rundown of everything that happened today, free from spin, like the kind you'll get on the 5 o'clock news. And there might have been some big news broken. President Trump last hour apparently announcing that he has signed a trade deal with China.
Everybody wants to make a deal and have a part of it, right? I know you and Howard and Scott are working overtime, making deals with other countries. Remember a few months ago, the press was saying, do you really have anybody of any interest? Well, we just signed with China yesterday, right? Just signed with China. We have everybody. We're not going to make deals with everybody. Some we're just going to send them a letter, say, thank you very much. You're going to pay 25, 35, 45%. That's the easy way to do it. And my people don't want to do it that way. They want to do some of it, but they want to make more deals than I would do. But we're having some great deals. We have one coming up, maybe with India, very big one, where we're going to open up India. In the China deal, we're starting to open up China, things that never really could have happened. And the relationship with every country has been very good.
President Trump went on to try to tout the virtues of the One Big Beautiful Bill during an event at the White House that just concluded about 15-20 minutes ago. He met with Senate leaders, including Wisconsin's own Ron Johnson, who says he's still opposed to the One Big Beautiful Bill because of how much it apparently adds to the deficit, but says he is willing to work with the Trump administration if the Trump administration is willing to cut out some of the spending items. Meanwhile, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says he still believes that the bill could get to the president's desk by July 4th, which is a week from tomorrow. Clock is ticking. I have my doubts, but we shall see. The White House continues to push back on the ridiculous notion that Iran's nuclear program was not thoroughly devastated by the bombing raid on Saturday night. And in about a 2.5-minute diatribe diatribe during today's White House press briefing that you simply have to hear because it is such an epic takedown. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt took aim squarely at Natasha Bertrand, the CNN reporter who leaked or got the leak of the low confidence initial report about that nuclear facility attack. Bertrand also happened to be the exact same reporter who got the 51 intelligence experts say the Hunter Biden laptop story is Russian disinformation. Here's 2.5 minutes of Caroline Leavitt proving why she just might be the single best White House press secretary of all time.
This was a low confidence preliminary intelligence assessment, and the entirety of that assessment was not leaked to the media. Only tidbits of that assessment were leaked to CNN. And we have seen this playbook run before, where you have people in the intelligence community or perhaps on Capitol Hill. We don't know, but I believe the FBI is investigating to find out who that leaker was because it's illegal and they should be held accountable for that. Leaked bits and pieces of an intel assessment to push a false narrative. And it's to the same reporter, I will add, Natasha Bertrand of CNN, who has done this in the past. In 2020, it was Natasha Bertrand who had 51 intelligence analysts falsely lie to her, but she still put it on paper for some reason, that the Hunter Biden laptop story was Russian disinformation. We all know that's not true, right? We can all agree on that now. That was a lie from the intelligence community. Also in 2020, this same reporter, Natasha Bertrand, wrote that a top intel agency ruled out the man-made lab leak theory of the coronavirus origins. Again, the president was right about that. This reporter wrote a lie from the intelligence community to seek a narrative she wanted to prove. And guess what? We now know that's the truth. Also, in 2024, Bertrand pushed the suckers and losers hoax. She also pushed the fine people hoax, which was taking the president's words purposely out of context. And then last October, and I believe this is notable, Natasha Bertrand published an article in Politico from the intelligence agency. She said that John Ratcliffe was speaking without any evidence when he said Iran was attempting to undermine President Trump's presidential campaign. And then we, of course, found out that was absolutely true. In fact, the Biden administration declassed an intel report which said they had high confidence that Iran had done exactly what Ratcliffe alleged. They did run an influence campaign to hurt President Trump's candidacy. In fact, we know the Iranians tried to take President Trump's life. And so this is a reporter who has been unfortunately used by people who dislike Donald Trump in this government to push fake and false narratives. She should be ashamed of herself. And that's not what reporting is. Journalism is trying to find the facts and the truth. And this week, we saw this same reporter being used to push a fake narrative to try to undermine the president of the United States. And more importantly, the brave fighter pilots who conducted one of the most successful operations in United States history. And I think the American people fully know that this operation was a complete and total success.
Boom. That is what I think every conservative needs to learn how to do. Now, granted, nobody's going to do it quite as well as the White House press secretary, but when you're able to point by point refute and to establish how exactly what the media is feeding you is nothing but propaganda, you're ahead of the game. That, ladies and gentlemen, your daily Trump date. CNN, meanwhile, is doing insane damage control today as they are backtracking and really have been for the last 24, 48 hours from that initial report from Natasha Bertrand. Here's noted disinformation expert / disinformation spreader, Brian Stelter.
There's so much more reporting to do on this topic. This is a very complex matter, even though Trump tried to make it sound simple on Saturday night. It's really important to note what CNN did not report. CNN did not report that this mission was a failure. Far from it. It may have turned out to be a tremendous success. We just don't know all the facts yet, and neither does the U.S. government.
Yeah, actually, they do know all the facts, and they have spent the past several days explaining to you the facts. This, by the way, was the exact same guy who every week on his thankfully canceled, ironically named show Reliable Sources would tell us throughout the Biden administration that it was dangerous to think something other than what the official sources of the White House tell you to think. And I'm not even telling you, just take the Trump administration's word for it. Who do you think out of anyone on Earth would have the most vested interest in knowing whether Iran could build a bomb in a couple of weeks, a couple of months, or a couple of years? Probably be the Israelis, right? You would think they would want to make sure that they've got this right. They would want to make sure that that nuclear program is thoroughly obliterated, that the centrifuges will never again be spinning. The Israelis came out and say, yeah, there's no way Iran is probably ever going to be able to rebuild its nuclear program. Look at how Iran has reacted. Are they taunting the United States, saying, we'll be back up and running in a couple of months? You set us back 2 months? Or are they behaving as though they know they've been beaten? That really is all you need to know. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. It is classical conservatism and contemporary style.
Northbound 4145, heavy Watertown Plank to Hampton, southbound Appleton to Capitol, westbound 94, a little slow around the stadium, then tight Moreland to Calhoun with a crash on the right shoulder. Car there is in the ditch. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
Let Tri-County Contracting take care of the outside of your home so you don't have to. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows from Tri-County Contracting. Call us at 262-679-6100 or visit us online at tricountycontractingwi.com.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Looking for affordable blinds, shades, or shutters for your home? Don't hire an expensive pro. Check out Blindster.com, where we offer custom-made window coverings at guaranteed low prices with a team of pros ready to help you every step of the way. Blindster.com.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas.
T-Mobile Arena.
September 19th and 20th, streaming live only on Hulu. Starring John Fogerty, Bryan Adams, Sammy Hagar, Mariah Carey, Tim McGraw, Jelly Roll, Ed Sheeran, and more. 15 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage, superstar performances, and once-in-a-lifetime artist moments you'll have to see to believe. Get your iHeartRadio Music Festival tickets now at AXS.com.
Verneri award-winning home renovating.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-616-1997. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-616-1997. That's 800-616-1997. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
We're the Libby family.
At Do-It-Yourself Bathroom Center near State Fair on 62nd and Greenfield.
We're not a home center.
Everyone here is an expert who really knows their stuff.
Plus, nobody beats our prices. Remember our slogan,
I did it myself at Do-It-Yourself.
At Advent, nasal congestion and sinus infections can be solved with an in-office 20-minute procedure. Elsewhere, expect surgery.
AdventNotes.com.
Restoring your home or business to its natural beauty is our only business. We are Wisconsin's most trusted carpet cleaner for over 75 years.
Edelman Carpet Furniture and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman.
With warmer weather arriving, we all know our energy bills will be spiking right along with the temperatures. Your money will be flying out of your home faster than that expensive cold air you paid for. Hi, it's Jay Weber from my friends at Semperfi Roofing with a tip on how to beat the heat. The 2 main areas that a home loses cool air are from your roof and your windows, and those are the 2 areas that Semperfi specializes in. They offer a free 21-point roof and window inspection to find out if they're causing your AC unit to work harder, which can double or even triple your energy bills. Yes, it's free, and there will be no high-pressure sales tactics afterward. Usually, an inexpensive repair can fix any problems they may find, but if it's time for a new roof, you can get $500 off of your project, plus no interest and no payment financing until 2027. So set up your free, no-obligation 21-point roof and window inspection today. 262-600-2910. That's 600-2910, or online at semperfiroofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi.
If you or a loved one needs a personal injury attorney, ask around. Lawyers, judges, law enforcement officers, insurance adjusters, refer Warshevsky because we achieve maximum judgments and settlements. Their ordeal, their injury is about the money. Warshevsky.com.
The real estate industry insiders know who to call when it's time to sell their home. This is Chris Leby with Lake Country Flat Fee. We've built up a solid track record of helping out our fellow real estate colleagues over the years. Former realtors, mortgage professionals, real estate attorneys. Being in the business, they know our reputation and they're confident we'll deliver them results and savings. Our sellers save about 50% versus a traditional 6% broker. To learn more or to schedule a free market analysis, visit our website at lakecountryflatfee.com.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules. All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the NX Wealth Management Studios. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Brett McGurk is a terrorism analyst and foreign policy wonk over on CNN. And after Jake Tapper started his program with about a 10-minute montage, or 10-minute monologue, I should say, about just how the Trump administration was not being totally honest about just how effective the strikes on Iran's nuclear facility were, and that we can't possibly know. He immediately goes to McGurk, and McGurk says, yeah, we actually do know they were terribly effective.
What we now know from that briefing, first time we know it, is that as it was designed, as these massive ordnance penetrators with significant computer software engineering went directly down to those three ventilator shafts, specifically as designed. And until you actually do it, you never know if it's going to work. It worked. It seems to have worked flawlessly. That is very important information.
This followed about 10 minutes of Jake Tapper telling us, no, it didn't totally work. Didn't totally work. What is kind of remarkable is just how long I have heard platitudes about Iran not being allowed to have nuclear weapons. Fox News put together an incredible montage of the past 5 presidents, Clinton, Bush, Obama, and Biden. I guess 4 presidents. The past 4 presidents all saying the same thing and then doing absolutely nothing about it.
We work to counter Iran's efforts to develop nuclear weapons and missile technology.
Iran should not have a nuclear weapon. Period.
I have stated that Iran will never be allowed to obtain a nuclear weapon.
We will not allow Iran to acquire a nuclear weapon.
Well, now they can't. Thank you very much, President Trump. This is sort of the difference between Trump and every one of those other men. 3 Democrats, 1 Republican. Now, granted, Bush had his hands full with a 2-front war on terror, one of which I think we can now agree didn't make a lot of sense. I was actually one who understood the strategy of that. I believe it was all about getting a permanent military presence, moving the strategic assets from Ramstein Air Base and the old Cold War positioning of where our weaponry was to the green zone of Iraq, where the new threats of the 21st century were. Trump reimagined what the war on terror looks like. And I know this is going to be misinterpreted. Oh, Dan O'Donnell's calling Trump a terrorist. No, I am not. What Trump did was to instill terror in the hearts of terrorist leaders. We dropped the mother of all bombs on a tunnel in Trump's first term. Do you know why? It was a terrorist tunnel. They were tunneling under the ground. We did it to show other nations that we could do it and that we would do it. When Iran took down $1 billion American drone, Trump ordered the assassination of Qasem Soleimani, Iran's top general, using a drone. Why? To show the rest of the world that we could do it and that we would do it. Why do you think the Ayatollah coordinated with the United States before the response to Soleimani's death, a symbolic strike, the exact same sort of symbolic strike that was launched following the destruction of Iran's nuclear facilities? Because he knew that the next targeted strike would be on him. And in fact, President Trump, in a post on Truth Social, said, "We know where the Ayatollah sleeps, and he's safe there for now." Could you see any of those other four presidents or any other president in your lifetime saying something like that? Trump has always benefited from the crazy factor. You always sort of want your enemies to think that you're half nuts, that you are just as likely to, I don't know, on a random Saturday night, destroy their nuclear facilities as you are to engage in high-level talks aimed at bringing the nuclear program to a gradual end. It is a radically different foreign policy. It is a radically different approach to all policy. And let me tell you, friend, I am here for it. I've made no bones about the fact that I hate the concept of tariffs. I'm a free trader through and through. Trump's use of them to get better deals for the American worker, the American consumer, for America at large has been masterful. Nothing short of masterful. Forcing these nations to the bargaining table to give up concessions that I dare say no other president would have demanded. When President Trump said, well, the difference is we finally have leadership who's not stupid. There's a large amount of truth in that. It's not that previous leaders were stupid. It's that previous leaders were afraid or at least uncomfortable with the idea of flexing America's muscles. Why? This is our world, baby. Travel around enough in it, and you will see American cultural influence everywhere. We are by far the dominant culture on earth. And that has nothing to do with our military might. It has nothing to do with our economic power. It has everything to do with the fact that we are a great, proud, prosperous, and enviable people. That peoples around the world want to be like us. They want to be us. Don't believe me? How many people from every country on earth were flooding here the second the old man, or at least someone operating the auto pen, opened up the gates? Trump is the first president in my lifetime. Reagan with the Soviets. Reagan had no problem. He said, all right, we're going to spend billions and billions and billions of dollars on defense. Remember, Reagan was mocked as a reckless, stupid cowboy, too. And he said, look, the Soviets aren't going to be able to keep up. They can barely feed their population. If all of a sudden we have strategic missile defense, if all of a sudden we let it slip that we're developing, quote unquote, Star Wars, potentially offensive weapons technologies that can strike them far quicker than they'd be able to respond to, and they need to prepare for it, more importantly, spend for that potential threat, we'll bankrupt them. We'll win the Cold War without ever firing any one of the weapons that we are building up. It's the first time that I think ever really happened in the 20th century. President Trump's taking that to a whole new extreme and essentially saying, all right, well, we're going to flex our muscles in every aspect of our relationship with the rest of the world where we feel as though we haven't gotten a fair shake. Honest to goodness, you go around the rest of the world, the one thing you don't see as much or at all, American products. Do you know why? Has nothing to do with tariffs. It has everything to do with local or national protectionism that doesn't allow free market competition and doesn't allow people in, say, the Netherlands, where we just came from, or Norway, to have the same wide variety of products that we do. Here in the United States, we basically don't tariff anybody. If a Norwegian toothpaste was that much better than Crest or Colgate, it would come in and dominate the market. Why are Crest and Colgate, both American companies, dominating global markets when they're allowed to compete on an open market? It's because they're just better. President Trump is saying, all right, let's allow the better American product. Let's allow the better American worker to dominate the world even further. The Bushes, the Clintons, the Bidens, the Obamas of the world, they were uncomfortable with that notion. Trump isn't. And again, ladies and gentlemen, I, for one, am here for it.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
94 eastbound at Forest Home, got a crash on the right shoulder, another on the right shoulder in Waukesha County. 94 westbound at Calhoun. Stalled dump truck on the 4194 northbound exit ramp to 7 Mile. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Grand Appliance. Get unbeatable appliance savings and fast delivery on top brands like Electrolux, Frigidaire, and more during the red, white, and blue sale at Grand Appliance. Learn more at grandappliance.com or your local Grand showroom. That's Grand Appliance. Appliance expert since 1930.
I'm Mark Belling, and my podcast is here, and I'm tackling the world. You can find me on the iHeart app or wherever you get your podcasts. Type Mark Belling Podcast in the search and hang on for the ride.
The Mark Belling Podcast is presented by Uline. For quality shipping and industrial supplies, Uline has everything in stock. Visit uline.com. Also supported by NX Wealth Management. The Mark Belling Podcast, now available at iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.
Dan O'Donnell here for Mander Collision and Glass, now with 7 locations to serve you in Waukesha, Milwaukee, Muskego, Brookfield, Heartland, Cedarburg, and their Waukesha Fleet and Specialty location. If you have a business with a multi-vehicle fleet, Mander is the place to go because their team understands you can't have a vehicle out of service for a while, so they work quickly and efficiently to get you back on the road and serving your customers as fast as possible through expedited fleet repairs. Mander has been serving their customers and their community for well over 20 years, and they know that the key is expert workmanship and fast turnaround times combined with the sort of customer service that you'll only find at a family-owned local business like Mander. Start your repair today at mandercollision.com and find out for yourself why Mander truly is your best decision after a collision.
Divergent Family Law offers free consultations for divorce and flat rate quotes so you can make informed decisions about your next steps. Our experienced attorneys are committed to helping you understand your rights and options. Your fair share or better, divergentfamilylaw.com.
Hi, I'm Willa Voss. I'm 8 years old. Mom and Dad own Cut and Go Tree Service. Yes, they did name me after a tree. Our family loves this country and the freedom it provides. Every morning, I look forward to starting the school day with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please say it along with me, even if you just say it in your mind. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. American patriots will enjoy a 5% discount for flying the American flag and mentioning this commercial when the Cut and Go remote control, automobile mounted, articulated crane, grapple saw operators are putting your dead trees on the ground or removing large branches that grew over something important. An all-American Tons of Trees movement. CutandGoTrees.com. That's CUTNGOTREES.com.
Are you like millions of Americans who avoided filing their taxes this year because you're afraid you will owe the IRS thousands, tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars? Well, you don't need to be afraid anymore. Tax Relief Advocates has the solution. We can file your back tax years and may be able to reduce or even eliminate what you owe. With over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, we've helped over 100,000 Americans just like you permanently and painlessly resolve their IRS debt. A resolution specialist is waiting to speak to you now, who will let you know what tax debt reduction you may qualify for. Don't wait. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call our tax relief hotline now to see what you qualify for at 800-511-2503. 800-511-2503. Again, that's 800-511-2503. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The Census Bureau says more than 12,000 Americans turn 65 each day. It's a surge they call Peak 65, the highest number in history. Some Annex clients retire early. Some keep working because they love it. You know why? Because they've got custom plans built by fee-only fiduciaries. They identified their wants and needs, and we went to work. We want to do the same for you. Annex does financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Visit AnnexWealth.com and click the Get Started button.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-414-7272. That's 800-414-7272. 800-414-7272.
From iHeart Podcast. Before social media, before cable news, there was Alan Burke.
He was the first and the original shock jock.
That scratchy, irreverent kind of way of talking to people and telling them that you're an idiot and I'm going to hang up on you.
This is Live Wire, the loud life and shocking murder of Alan Burke.
And he pointed to the Denver phone book and said, well, there are probably 2 million suspects.
Open your free iHeartRadio app, search Live Wire, and listen now.
Opinion, emotion, passion. This is News Talk 1130 WISN. Classical conservatism, contemporary style. This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, I regret to inform you that Chicken P will no longer be performing at Summerfest. His show is canceled because, according to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, he is in custody of the county jail and could be incarcerated for quite some time. Chicken P is a rapper whose given name is Rakib Smith. He will no longer perform on the Generac Power Stage on June 28th. My producer, Jeff, a.k.a. Pipe Bomb, on our sister station 97.3 The Game, normally is a big metal guy, but I think was going to make an exception for Chicken P. Smith, 30, according to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, is arguably the most popular rapper living in Milwaukee and has held that title for several years as the city's rap scene has gained recognition nationally with the rise of social media and viral personalities. He has a record deal with 10K Projects, the indie label behind Ice Spice and Trippie Redd. Yes. Ms. Spice and Mr. Red are 2 of the biggest stars. Little known fact, Ice Spice is the daughter of Scary Spice of the Spice Girls. No, I totally just made that up. I have no idea where she came from. All I know is that she makes a lot of rhymes about poop. It's like a big social media thing. I don't know why. And also, if I may, female rappers, it's sort of like Highlander. There can only be one. If you'll notice, like the rap game can only support one female rapper at a time. So every couple of years, they have to go out into the fields and they fight to the death, where one of them will cut the other's head off with a samurai sword. Seriously, it went from like Salt and Pepper to Queen Latifah to, for a while there, it was Da Brat. And then over the past couple of years, you had Nicki Minaj. And then it was the stripper one. I don't remember what her name is, who had the song WAP. Oh my gosh, what a Cardi B. And then Cardi B begat, it's sort of like the Bible. It was like Josephus begat Hezekiah. Nicki Minaj begat Cardi B, who begat Ice Spice, who begat the next female rapper. But Chicken P is in custody of the Milwaukee County Jail. Why don't we say he is under arrest? Wait, he is in custody? He failed a drug test that was being administered as a condition of the bail for 2 open felony drug-related cases from 2022. In March, Smith, a.k.a. P, pleaded guilty to possession with intent to distribute cocaine and possession of a firearm by a felon. He was supposed to be sentenced on June 30th, but his attorney filed a motion to postpone the hearing in late July after the failed drug test. The judge granted the motion and ordered Smith be held until sentencing, which is scheduled for July 24th. He faces decades behind bars for the drug-related charge. Now, last month, Smith had a felony charge of recklessly endangering safety dismissed after the prosecution's essential witness failed to appear. Would you say they chicken peed out? No. What either happened is Mr. P paid them off, or some of Mr. P's chicks, his I don't know, what would you call Chicken P's fan? His nuggets? Chicken P's nuggets paid a visit to this essential witness and said, don't crow out of turn. You see. Smith is represented by Anthony Cotton, who also represents convicted murderer Maxwell Anderson, whose highly publicized trial concluded earlier this month. Cotton didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. So I know a lot of us in the audience are heartbroken that Chicken P will not be performing at Summerfest. Republicans in the state legislature are going to resume their work on the state budget. Negotiations between lawmakers and Governor Evers broke down for a second time this budget cycle. The Joint Finance Committee scheduled on Friday, June 27th, to take votes on the remaining 18 areas of the budget that have yet to be written. This, according to Molly Beck of the Journal Sentinel. I can also tell you, folks, that a big reason the work has resumed is there was an actual movement, a big movement, to just not do a budget this year and have the existing budget take effect for the next 2 years, which is what happens. It's not as though everything just stops getting funded in the next biennium if there's not a budget. And for those who are unfamiliar with how Wisconsin's budget process works, unlike a whole lot of other states, in fact, pretty much every other state, there are a couple of nuances in Wisconsin politics and governance that are very different from every other state. The big one, of course, is the partial veto. The other one is we do a lot of policy in our biennial budgets. Well, a couple of days ago, yesterday, in fact, the Wisconsin Supreme Court rather surprisingly ruled in a case DPI v. state legislature that Governor Evers' partial veto authority would be dramatically curtailed in that he couldn't use a partial veto on a bill that didn't directly have some sort of budgetary component. That's in the Wisconsin state constitution. The only thing that you can use your partial veto on as a Wisconsin governor is something that apportions state funds, spends state money. There was a package of bills to start a literacy program, one of which actually enacted the literacy program. The other one funded it. Governor Evers used his partial veto on the one bill that didn't have a budgetary component, and a Dane County judge ruled that, well, we can take these bills together and the partial veto stands. Well, shockingly, the state Supreme Court said no, in a unanimous opinion said no. This violates the state constitution. I can tell you, Republicans were waiting for that. They were also waiting for a ruling which came down a couple of months ago in another case, Lemieux v. Evers, which challenged Governor Evers' 400-year partial veto for school funding. That was allowed to stand. The legislature was waiting for some clarity on those because it didn't want to craft a budget that Governor Evers could then use like he did in that 400-year veto to just increase taxes or increase funding to do anything that he wanted without the legislature ever actually signing off on it. So once that Supreme Court decision came down, I believe the decision was made by the Joint Finance Committee. Okay, we can proceed forward. We've got some clarity from the state Supreme Court. I still think it wouldn't have been the worst idea in the world just to not have a budget. Governor Evers, the thinking is, oh, no, Governor Evers is going to be able to campaign on that. Oh, well, he's going to campaign on whatever it is he's going to campaign on. If Republicans can rein in the spending, if Republicans can cut taxes further, if we can get as conservative an agenda as possible with a Democrat governor, we've got to go do it. We'll name the unsung hero of the day when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns after this. Don't go anywhere.
The Dan O'Donnell Show. We'll be right back.
From the Lynch Truck Center in Waterford Total Traffic Center.
Crash cleanup continues to block the right shoulder, 894 eastbound at Forest Home. It's about a 10-minute trip both directions between the Hale and the Mitchell. 94 westbound, you got a 23-minute trip out to Moreland and a crash off to the right at Calhoun. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Club Car Wash and ClubCarWash.com.
$10 a month gets you the cleanest car in Sussex. Club Car Wash is open on Executive Drive across from Meyer on Lisbon. And right now, you can get an unlimited membership for $10 a month for 3 months. For more details, visit in-store or online at ClubCarWash.com.
Join the club.
I'm Dave Brownsdorf, president of Flawless Flooring. It's true, there's nothing quite like the scent of freshly steam-cleaned, worn carpet other than a wet dog or cat's litter box. However, Flawless's customer satisfaction-driven, unprecedented growth pinched the Milwaukee metro flooring industry to the point major carpet companies are no more. We've added quality carpeting lines, becoming your true one-stop flooring shop. Flawless Flooring's New Berlin and Delafield, virtually unheard of in the flooring industry. Upfront, accurate pricing, including installation on every display. Know how much carpet, LVP, or modern laminate flooring you need? You can calculate exact pricing as you shop. Want to expand your existing hardwood flooring? Flawless's employee-only craftsmen strip existing flooring, install new hardwood, then finish old and new together for a perfect, looks all original floor. Lock in purchasing power of today's dollars for money you'll earn up to 21 months from now with Flawless's no money down, zero interest financing. Sensory under load, Flawless Flooring, FlawlessFlooringLLC.com. That's FlawlessFlooringLLC.com.
Wisconsin-grown, healthy, and gorgeous lifelong perennial happiness is available right now.
Buy perennials directly from your grower right here in New Berlin.
Make every normal day abnormally beautiful. Prospect Hill, Bloomsite.com.
Call Callan to remodel your kitchen or bathroom or to replace windows and doors. Callan, design, build, live. Call 414-529-5509. Visit callcallan.com or stop at its Muskego Design Center.
So I like vintage, and recently a customer purchased a 250-year-old grandfather clock. A great piece, but it had new glass in it, and it just didn't look right. So I had an idea. It was a Sunday, and I took a ride over to our store and searched through our unique vintage glass selection. I mean, some of this glass is literally hundreds of years old, and I found the perfect piece. It had waves and bubbles. It was beautiful. Jackie and I went through dozens of pieces of old glass, and when we were finished, we looked at this clock and realized we probably just significantly raised its value. This is David Wilhelm. Yes, at Lisbon Storm Screen and Door, you'll find windows and doors and hardware that you just can't find anywhere but here. But where else are you going to be able to search through a lot of old vintage glass to make your vintage project an absolute winner? Well, that's right here at your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Find out more at lisbonstorm.com.
Do you know what the scariest sound to hear on a factory floor is? Silence. That means something somewhere broke. Production has stopped, and now you're paying your workers to wait while the team troubleshoots and tries to fix the problem. Finally, there's a proactive way to reduce equipment downtime, thanks to MaintainX. MaintainX is the asset management system that brings your maintenance downtime to zero. MaintainX lets you build preventative maintenance schedules, manage work orders in real time, and access the data you need to make better decisions. Downtime equals death in the production world, so make unplanned downtime a thing of the past. Try MaintainX for free. Control the daily operations of your business and transform your maintenance program by going to maintainx.com. That's maintain in the letter X.com.
Military Matters.
In the race to dominate the seas, the U.S. is not in first place. China now has the most ships at sea, commercially and militarily. China showcased its power with a warship parade celebrating 76 years of the People's Liberation Army Navy. Between 2014 and 2023, China launched 157 warships, more than double the U.S. Navy's 67. To reverse course, President Trump signed an executive order to modernize domestic shipyards. A bipartisan push in Congress, the SHIPS Act, aims to do the same. The CEOs of modern shipbuilding companies like Eureka and Saronic Technologies are ready to help.
I think catching up is probably somewhere between a 2 and 3 year process for the shipyards to truly get.
We need to return the United States to shipbuilding power, and the way that you do that is through autonomy and scale.
President Trump's order calls on U.S. leaders to create a maritime action plan to counter China's shipbuilding dominance by November. With Military Matters, Mike Tobin, Fox News.
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Conservative thought, not just talk. Coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, I'm going to do something that I don't always do, but I think more people should admit I was wrong. I took aim at I'll still consider him to be something of a fringe candidate for governor, Bill Berrien, who was the first Republican to announce he is, and I still do take serious issue with the fact that he has been very not straightforward about his support for ranked choice voting. One of the biggest stories to come out of the world of politics, probably in the last couple of months, has to be the shocking victory of Zohran Mamdani in the New York mayoral primary for the Democrats. He defeated Andrew Cuomo, the disgraced former governor, who is widely believed to be a shoo-in for the Democratic nominee. He was going to launch his comeback, and he was going to resume his place because even as mayor, if you're the mayor of New York City, you are a major player in national politics because of just how big and how important and how close to the national media New York City is. Mamdani won, and he has to be considered an overwhelming favorite to be the next mayor of New York, even though the incumbent Eric Adams is running again as an independent. And Cuomo did announce that he is going to drop out of the race. He's not going to launch an independent bid. Curtis Sliwa is running as a Republican. Republican's not going to be able to win. We'll get into that. And ranked choice voting is what delivered Zohran Mamdani. what is always pitched as the way to eliminate extreme candidates from rising to the top in traditional primaries invariably leads to the very sort of left-wing extremism that the left-wing extremist backers of ranked choice voting or Final Five or whatever scheme they try to package it as. That is the point, is to elect left-wingers. So we'll get into that in the 5 o'clock. Time to name the unsung hero of the day, brought to you by Blue Line Cleaning Services, residential and commercial cleaning done by professionals. It is Con Knippel's mom, Sherry, who didn't just watch every single game her son played at Duke in his lone season there. She also has 3 other sons who play various levels of basketball. She made it to as many of their games as possible, to take nothing away from Con's father, Con Sr., Sherry Knippel, for her dedication to her sons, all of her sons' basketball careers, the alpha dog sports mom, as we called her when that story first came out. She is your unsung hero of the day.
Listen to Benjamin Yount, weekday mornings 9 to 11 on News Talk 1130 WISN Milwaukee. And make WISN the #1 preset on your car radio and on the new iHeart app. Free never sounded so good.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Michaels. The U.S. Supreme Court today blocked Planned Parenthood from suing the state of South Carolina over Medicaid funding cuts. The Walworth County Sheriff's Office says a deputy was rear-ended in the town of Darien Tuesday night.
The 41-year-old woman behind the wheel was eating Taco Bell, speeding, and not paying attention at the time. The deputy went to the hospital with minor injuries, and the woman could face a citation or possible charges.
Fox 6's Carl Duffenbaugh, and a former advisor to former President Joe Biden, is refusing to testify before Congress.
The House Oversight Committee has just sent Anthony Bernal a subpoena. A person familiar with Bernal's interactions with the committee says that calling this a refusal to appear is misleading. They say it was simply a request to reschedule the interview. However, a House Oversight aide responded that Bernal's attorneys notified the committee yesterday morning he would no longer appear voluntarily and would need a subpoena, so here it is.
Fox News' Rich Edson checking the Holiday Automotive Fond du Lac Sports Scoreboard. Brewers had the day off today. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Dave Michaels on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Another day with isolated showers and thunderstorms becoming a bit more numerous later in the day. High today near 88 as the heat returns. Should be cooler lakeside as a northeast breeze kicks in. Overnight tonight, more rain and thunderstorms, 68, and yet more rain tomorrow morning, 82. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by Grand Appliance. Get unbeatable appliance savings and fast delivery on top brands like Electrolux, Frigidaire, and more during the red, white, and blue sale at Grand Appliance. Learn more at grandappliance.com or your local Grand showroom. That's Grand Appliance. Appliance expert since 1930.
Warshawski trial attorney Frank Crivello here. Folks, I'm Victor Harding. Frank is selected Best Lawyers 2024 Complex Litigation Lawyer of the Year. More impressive is Victor Harding named Product Liability Attorney of the Year again for 2024. It may sound boastful to mention these prestigious awards. It's not boastful considering if you or someone you love is injured, you need to know 2 attorneys from the same personal injury firm being chosen by other lawyers and judges for these caliber of awards is very rare. Heaven forbid you ever need an injury claim made on your behalf. If you do, the quality of your attorney and law firm will have a greater impact on the outcome than even the facts of your case. Former clients, other lawyers, judges, law enforcement officers, and even insurance adjusters, often our adversaries, refer their family and friends to Warshawski because they know Warshawski will achieve maximum compensation. Injured? It is about the money. Warshawski.com. That's Warshawski.com.
When I decided to remodel my kitchen, it was important to see more than just designs and drawings. Wisconsin Kitchen Mart made it easy, with more fully built kitchen displays than anywhere else. The showroom made all the difference when making important design decisions. Along with their talented team of designers, decorators, and installers, my dream kitchen came to life.
For almost 75 years, our team at Wisconsin Kitchen Mart has created kitchen and bathroom remodels that set us apart from the rest. We understand that your kitchen must be a well-oiled machine so you enjoy using it. And don't forget, bathrooms too. That's why we offer quality design that incorporates the existing space in your home to enhance the style. Come see our full displays in our 18,000 square foot showroom, and with our wide selection of flooring, Play-Doh custom cabinetry, appliances, and countertops, you can get everything you need in one place. Higher design, higher style, higher Wisconsin Kitchen Mart. Visit wisconsinkitchenmart.com for more information and a free consultation.
Hello world, wake me up to another good morning, time to go.
Hey, it's Jerry Bott. You know that feeling you get when you realize you're dealing with a company that cares about you, not just as a customer, but as a person? That's the overwhelming feeling I got when I bought my vehicle at Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac. The Holiday staff was attentive, patient, totally engaged, and they listened. That inspires confidence, and confidence inspires trust.
Connect with Holiday's summer road trip sale. Score enticing offers and get more for your trade on a new Chevrolet, Buick, or GMC.
Oh, we are all looking for adventure.
Come be our guest. Take a test drive and get ready to travel the road ahead. Find yours and discover the difference at Holiday.
Living free, and I was meant to be free. Meant to be free.
Holiday Automotive, Fond du Lac, and at holidaygm.com.
It's worth the trip.
Are you tired of being tired? Go to adventknows.com.
Go-Wall Investment Group, now Creative Planning, is a registered investment advisor. Now for your business report from Creative Planning. For informational purposes only, past performance is not indicative of future results.
Good afternoon. This is Anthony Priester with your closing business report. The major averages climbed higher today amid growing bets on interest rate cuts and comments from White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt, who indicated that the July 9th trade deadline for an EU deal to avoid 50% tariffs was not critical and could be extended. Meanwhile, shares of Core Scientific soared over 35% after the Wall Street Journal reported that the Bitcoin miner is in talks to be acquired by the artificial intelligence player CoreWeave, which has an ongoing partnership with Core Scientific. At the close, the Dow was up 404 points, the S&P 500 was up 48 points, the Nasdaq was up 194 points. From the Go-Wall Investment Group, now Creative Planning, I'm Anthony Priester.
Conservative thought, not just talk. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show, final hour on a Thursday. That means coming up in a couple of minutes, it is Forgotten History, and the political world is ablaze with the possibility that an honest-to-goodness socialist will be the next mayor of New York City, Zohran Mamdani. Did you know America already experimented with honest-to-goodness socialism, and it failed miserably? We will tell the story. Forgotten History coming up in about 20 minutes to 25 minutes or so, right around 5:30. We try to do Forgotten History. It is also its own standalone podcast. If you like 5-minute or so history lessons, stories about things that you might not have learned in school, but that really tell something about who we are as an American people, subscribe to Forgotten History with Dan O'Donnell. Sizzling Summer Cash Contest time 24 hours ago. We had the nationwide winner. His name was indeed Bob, because it's always Bob. I don't know what it is, but I feel like every time I see a winner, and it's not as though Bobs are overrepresented in our listener base, but I'm telling you, if you look back through the archives of how many people have won on this show, I think Bob has 3 times more winners than any other name. I'm convinced of it, in fact. Congratulations to Bob, who is listening to us in Kenosha. At 5 o'clock yesterday, he entered the keyword and won $1,000. How about you be like Bob and win a grand by entering the word grand, G-R-A-N-D, grand, on our website, newstalk1130.com or WIBA.com. You've got until 55 past the hour to go to our website and enter the word grand. If your entry is picked at random, you win $1,000, aka a grand. Instantly, you want to join the Dan O'Donnell Show, 414-799-1130 or 1-800-838-9476, the numbers to call or text. Email me, dod@iheartmedia.com. Be sure to follow me on social media at Dan O'Donnell Show on Facebook, on X, and on the Gram, Instagram as well. A couple of days ago, I took aim at Bill Berrien, who has not, I think, officially announced his candidacy for governor, but he took substantive steps. He registered a PAC. I believe he filed the necessary paperwork. He's in. Nobody seems to know who he is. He's a Navy SEAL. He's a businessman. And he is a big proponent, apparently, of something called Final Five voting. Better known as ranked choice voting, it is what delivered Zohran Mamdani, the aforementioned socialist in New York, a big win in the Democrat primary. Mamdani was the beneficiary of a left-wing scheme to allow less popular candidates to win by having voters rank every single candidate on the ballot. If it sounds confusing and sounds weird, it is, dear listener, both. Here's how it works. Let's say we were voting for, well, let's say the likely Republican candidates for governor. I'll put in there the already declared Josh Schoeman, Washington County executive, Berrien, Tom Tiffany, and just for you-know-whats and giggles, I have no idea if he's actually interested, Eric Hovde. So we've got 4 candidates: Hovde, Berrien, Schoeman, Tiffany. Instead of just voting for one, Republicans would vote for every single one of them and rank them in order of their preference. Let's say I want Schoeman first. And because I was ripping on him, and you know what? Nope, I'm going to be the bigger man, because I was ripping on him a couple of days ago and said I was going to destroy his campaign because of his support for ranked choice voting. I'm going to put Bill Berrien first. My choice is Bill Berrien, followed by Schoeman, followed by Tiffany, followed by Hovde. Sorry, Eric, I love you, but somebody's got to be fourth. Berrien finishes last when the first round of ballots are counted. In the first round, every ballot is counted for the first place vote, whoever we have ranked first. Let's say producer Jeff ranks Tom Tiffany first. Tiffany would get 1 vote from Jeff. Bill Berrien would get 1 vote from Dan. Berrien finishes last. He's eliminated. What happens to Dan's ballot? Then Dan's second choice, Josh Schoeman, becomes his first choice. The ballots are counted again with all with all Bill Berrien first choice votes counting the second choice. So Schoeman would get more votes. Tom Tiffany would get more votes. Then let's say it's Showman, who finishes last out of 3. We're down to Eric Hovde and we're down to Tom Tiffany. Producer Jeff, who picked Showman first, or did you pick Tiffany first? I don't even remember. You picked Tiffany? You picked Tiffany. All right, Tiffany finishes last. You voted for Tiffany first. Your vote is then recounted for your second choice, which would be Josh Showman. This is a blatant violation of the well-worn constitutional principle of one person, one vote. My vote, my ballot, has not been counted one time. It's been counted many times. In addition, let's say I don't vote for all 4 candidates. I just vote for 3. Eventually, my ballot would be exhausted and then tossed out. Ultimately, my vote would not factor in to the final counting of ballots. I'm actually confusing myself right now talking about it. And I'm the guy talking about it. I can't imagine how you folks listening to me must feel. That's the issue with ranked choice voting. So I got an email from, I think it was a lady who said, look, Dan, you going off on Bill Berrien, you actually sounded kind of like a lib. I listen to you all the time, and you always say you never endorse in primaries. Well, isn't this sort of a reverse endorsement saying I'm going to destroy this guy's campaign? This listener was right. It sort of was. The listener also said, well, look, you didn't even give a chance. You just sort of dismissed the candidate. Would you believe it? I'm not saying that politicians have to come on this show and kiss the ring, but producer Jeff, if you were running as a Republican in Wisconsin, do you think there's a handful of radio shows that you might want to circle? Say, hey, we should probably go on this one. Never heard from him. In fact, I got an email from, I don't know if I should betray any confidences here, from another talk show host who said, have any of you ever heard, and like every one of the WISN hosts was on it, have any of you ever heard of this Bill Berrien guy? We all said, no, can't say I have. This person told us, yeah, it's just a little weird that, did he reach out to any of you? I'm like, no, I have no idea. So it struck me as a vanity candidacy. Someone said, oh, well, I should just run because why not? I've got a lot of money and people are crying out for Bill Berrien. Ranked choice voting, which is Bill Berrien's big thing. He was also a big Nikki Haley supporter, not in 2016, but in 2020. And Haley was going 2024, and Haley was going full bore at President Trump. Seems to be not the smartest thing to do in a state that is very now pro-Trump, as never Trump as it was in 2016. I dare say Wisconsin is one of the Trumpier states in the union in terms of Republican support for the president. Berrien, at the state Republican convention, talked to my good friend Jessica McBride over at Wisconsin Right Now, also fill in here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. He told McBride that he did not support ranked choice voting, which I think is funny, since the group headed by noted lib Catherine Gale, Democracy Found, lists as a member of its leadership circle one Bill Berrien. This is the group whose sole purpose is to bring what it calls Final Five voting, aka ranked choice voting, to Wisconsin. He doesn't support it. Why is he on the leadership circle? I'm looking at his picture right now. This is actually the first time I've ever seen a picture of Bill Berrien. Good looking dude. Nice smile. Went with the no tie and the suit look. I like that look. says, I'm a businessman, but I'm also ready to let my hair down and party a little bit. I should have a blog just rating people's LinkedIn picture. I'm just going to judge every aspect of somebody by their LinkedIn picture. Here's John Burke. He's looking slightly away. He's got a big smile. I'm looking at members of this leadership team. What does that say about Mr. Burke? Well-coiffed head of hair. He's saying, I will foreclose on your house without even thinking about it. I'll do it with a smile. No, I have no idea what business he's even in. It's also interesting that he is on this leadership team and advisory council with a whole lot of well-known libs, including Catherine Gale, including David Lubar, as well as Madeline Lubar, Greg Marcus of the Marcus Corporation, big Democrat, Andy Nunemaker, also big Democrat, Lind Eline, who is the one Eline. She is not, Richard and is it Elizabeth Eline? I apologize. She's the liberal Eline. Whole lot of Dems on this. I'm not seeing. Well, Ted Kellner's on this board too, which is rather disappointing because I know Ted's a big Republican. Okay, there's one big Republican, but I'm just going to take a while. Give me 20 minutes with Ted Kellner. I will disavow him of any support for ranked choice or Final Five voting. My point is that this is a primarily very left-wing thing. Oh, God, Reed Ribble. That's all I need to know about what sort of Republicans are behind ranked choice voting. Reed Ribble, who was elected briefly as a Republican congressman and has basically spent every moment since expressing how much he hates Republicans and Donald Trump and just how stupid all of us are. It invariably results in Democrats winning. One of the most Republican states in the entire country is Alaska. 2 years ago, 4 years ago, Alaska was represented by a Democrat. How? Ranked choice voting. Sarah Palin, everybody knows her, vice presidential nominee, former governor, was trying to make a political comeback. She was running for Alaska's lone congressional seat. But unfortunately, she wasn't the only Republican running. Okay. The Democrat was able to sneak in. Mary Peltola actually represented Alaska for 2 years because Nick Begich said, all right, I don't care what the people of Alaska actually want. We want more Begiches. Sort of how Gollum from Lord of the Rings says Bilbo Baggins' name. Bagginses, Begiches. Begich family is very prominent in Alaska politics. How exactly in 2022 did Alaska elect a Democrat in the same state that voted for Trump by 10 points in 2020 and 15 points in 2016? Ranked choice voting. Democrats didn't exhaust their ballots, whereas Republicans did. How did Zoran Mamdani pull off a stunning upset over Andrew Cuomo? He gamed the ranked choice system, and Cuomo's voters exhausted their ballots, whereas Mamdani's didn't. This meant what Mamdani's supporters were doing was getting supporters of other candidates to rank Mamdani second or third and Cuomo last. Cuomo was the first choice out of a good number of New Yorkers. He didn't win. And in fact, this almost always happens. The guy with the most first place votes doesn't win. Heritage Foundation found that in 4 ranked choice voting elections, the candidate with the most first place votes did not win the election. These are the people who say we need to protect democracy. We need to protect democracy. Yet they've got a system in which the guy who finishes first doesn't win. But here's the biggest thing about ranked choice voting. It violates both the Wisconsin and federal constitutions. Wisconsin Constitution is very clear. Ranked choice voting can never lawfully be used to elect Wisconsin's governor, because Wisconsin's Constitution clearly states the candidate with the most votes shall be declared governor. Not candidate with the most third place votes because of an agreement with the Libertarian Party to rank the Republican highest. I've never seen any scheme like this. And the people who support it purport that it will get the radicals. This is aimed at the Trump base of the Republican Party. They want this for primaries because they know that it's almost certainly unconstitutional. Yes, I know that I believe it was the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals is the only federal court that has issued some sort of definitive ruling. Then again, it's the Ninth Circuit. Okay, so do with that. That's the California Court of Appeals. Ninth Circus, it was often called. I believe we're very close to flipping that conservative, however, because of Trump and cocaine Mitch McConnell in the first term, just plugging away at getting judges nominated and confirmed. The issue at the federal level is disenfranchisement. If your ballot is exhausted, you don't have a vote. Also, violation of one person, one vote. If my ballot is counting not just for the first place candidate, in my example, it was Bill Berrien. So my ballot helped Bill Berrien on the first round. But then I also get a vote for my second choice. Let's say it was Tom Tiffany. But then when Tiffany is eliminated, my ballot also gets counted again for Josh Schoeman. I don't have one vote. I have three. I have just used my choice, my ballot, my vote to help three different candidates in one election. It's not one person, three votes. It's one person, one vote. There's no way you will ever get me to bend even a little on that constitutional reality. It's unconstitutional. This is why you primarily see this in mayoral primaries or congressional primaries. Because I think if it ever goes up to the U.S. Supreme Court, it gets struck down with a quickness. And in fact, I'm surprised that the Supreme Court has not yet picked up on this, because it is an affront to the constitutional republic that we have and our American tradition of picking our leaders. So this listener wanted to know why I was so vehemently opposed to Bill Berrien. It's because this policy and his appearance on this leadership council for the ranked choice voting scheme group, to me, is disqualifying. Now, I'll admit I was wrong to dismiss his candidacy. And if he ever wants to reach out and come on the show to try to debate the merits of ranked choice voting and how it will lead to more moderate candidates, like the communist who wants the government to own grocery stores in New York, then I would love to have him on. Speaking of that communist in New York, should we take a break and go to forgotten history? America already experimented with socialism. It did not go well. Forgotten history on the Dan O'Donnell Show coming up next.
From the Lynch Buick GMC of West Bend Total Traffic Center.
Emergency crews in Oak Creek with an accident on Drexel Boulevard east of Pennsylvania Avenue. Crash on the right shoulder in Waukesha County, 94 westbound at Calhoun. That car still in the ditch there. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Argo Glass and Windows.
No need to replace windows when you can repair them. Argo Glass and Windows, always offering free estimates. Rotted wood, foggy glass, hard to slide patio door. There's no need to replace if you can repair them. Visit ArgoWindowRepair.com.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas.
T-Mobile Arena.
September 19th and 20th, streaming live only on Hulu. Starring John Fogerty, Bryan Adams, Sammy Hagar, Mariah Carey, Tim McGraw, Jelly Roll, Ed Sheeran, and more. 15 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage, superstar performances, and once-in-a-lifetime artist moments you'll have to see to believe. Get your iHeartRadio Music Festival tickets now at AXS.com.
I'm Dan Voss from Cut and Go. Ugly and depressing and trees killed off by emerald ash, oak wilt, and Dutch elm disease are dangerous for friends and loved ones, even a potential liability. Slowly rotting, left-standing hardwood trees can weigh tens of thousands of pounds. Even seemingly smaller branches can weigh tens, even hundreds of pounds. With Cut and Go, there is no reason to risk injury or property damage. Live trees in precarious placement for an arborist to remove over homes, garages, commercial buildings, luxury landscapes are easily and safely laid on the ground by Cut and Go's NCCER crane-operated certified remote control automobile-mounted articulating crane grapple saw operators. You can save big money and stock up on firewood by having Cut and Go put your trees on the ground for you to clean up or have a bonfire or split firewood. Or we can take it all with us when we leave. A Tons of Trees movement. Cut and Go trees.com. That's CUTNGO trees.com. Once again, that's cutandgotrees.com.
Hey, it's Vicki McKenna. You probably think your 401k is safe, that it's growing, that it will be enough for your retirement. But what if it's not? Here's the truth. Your 401k was never designed to make you wealthy. It was built to shift risk from corporations to you, leaving your money exposed to market crashes, inflation, and uncertainty. But now Americans are taking back control with real assets like gold. Noble Gold Investments has helped thousands protect their future by converting part of their retirement savings into physical gold so they can stop worrying about the market and start sleeping better at night. Talk to Noble Gold today and learn how safe and easy it is to roll over your 401k into a tax-advantaged gold IRA without penalties or headaches. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com to get your free wealth protection kit, including a step-by-step guide to get started. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. It's time to get your money out of the danger zone and into something real.
Race into nice hardware for the DeWalt Tool June sales event. Get $100 off and a free 5-amp battery on the 20-volt max blower and string trimmer combo kit. Save $100 on the 20-volt max drill and impact driver kit for only $299.99. DeWalt reps on site Monday, June 30th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. with the DeWalt race car between 12 and 5. Be in the victory lane of savings at nice June sales event featuring DeWalt power tools, highways 41, 45, and Q in Menominee Falls. Visit NEUShardware.com for details.
Summer is all about making memories, right? Backyard barbecues, road trips, maybe finally getting around to that hiking trail you've been eyeballing. But if you're living with pain, those future memories can be stolen from you. So here's a thought. Call 1-800-4RELIEF and try Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free daily supplement designed to help your body fight pain. It's a doctor-developed formula made from natural ingredients. Best part? Relief Factor doesn't mask pain. It helps reduce or even eliminate it for good. Whether it's kayaking, running around with the little ones, or just chilling in a hammock, Relief Factor can help you feel better, move better, and do more of the things you love all summer long. So if you're ready to reclaim your summer, head over to ReliefFactor.com or give them a call at 1-800-4RELIEF. Do it now and get their 3-week quick start for just $19.95. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the NX Wealth Management Studios. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference. Conservative thought, not just talk.
No talking points, just in-depth analysis and exclusive investigations.
The Dan O'Donnell Show. Weekday afternoons 3 to 6 on News Talk 1130 WISN.
I'm America.
Conservative thought. Not just talk. This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Here on the Dan O'Donnell Show each week, we tell the stories of the red, the white, and the blue that you might not have heard in history class, but that make us the great nation we are today, ladies and gentlemen. It's time once again for Forgotten History. As a nation, we're forever striving to form a more perfect union. The concept is even enshrined in our founding documents. America is, we recognize, not yet perfect, but the American experience is that of constant experimentation and discovery in search of that which will make it more perfect. Sometimes, though, in that search, we fall victim to the temptation of utopia, the idea that absolute societal perfection is possible, and we hear the siren song of socialism. Just as our quest for a more perfect union started with America's founding, so too did its flirtation with the dangerous belief that government can and should make things more equal and thus perfect. This is the forgotten history of America's first socialist experiment. Robert Owen was an idealist, a wealthy British industrialist who thought that he could build what he called a new moral world. There is but one mode by which man can possess in perpetuity all the happiness which his nature is capable of enjoying, he wrote, and that is by the union and cooperation of all for the benefit of each. On April 27, 1825, Owen purchased the tiny village of New Harmony, Indiana, from a religious community. He firmly believed that the success of his new utopia would prove his theory that society may be formed so as to exist without crime, without poverty, with health greatly improved, with little, if any, misery, and with intelligence and happiness increased 100-fold. And no obstacle whatsoever intervenes at this moment except ignorance to prevent such a state of society from becoming universal. In other words, New Harmony would be a perfect society. He would build it that way, and he convinced Congress to help make it happen. He so intrigued Washington, D.C. with his frequent speeches that 800 of the city's leading artists, scientists, and thinkers joined him to build a community in which each person would contribute his unique talents and share equally in the bounty that they would surely produce together. Only they didn't. Residents had no motivation to work since they would be paid the same as those who didn't, and the government was so ineffectual that it couldn't even run the town's general store. One New Harmony resident wrote, even salads were deposited in the store to be handed out, making 10,000 unnecessary steps and causing them to come to the tables in a wilted, deadened state. Owen was getting desperate. His utopia was collapsing. But on July 4th, 1826, the 50th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, he doubled down on his vision with a declaration of mental independence. I now declare to you and to the world, he said, that man up to this hour has been in all parts of the earth a slave to a trinity of the most monstrous evils that could be combined to inflict mental and physical evil upon the whole race. I refer to private property, absurd and irrational systems of religion and marriage founded upon individual property. Within a year, though, Owen's noble vision failed miserably. No one was growing food or building houses because they had no incentive to work hard enough to feed or house those who wouldn't work, and homelessness and famine ran rampant. In March 1827, in a desperate bid to save the town, Owen allowed residents to own private property, but it was already too late. His dream was dead, and the last of his followers left New Harmony in 1829. Owen spent the rest of his life paying off the massive debts that his failed experiment had run up, but until the day he died, he refused to admit that his vision was a failure. However, his son, future Congressman Robert Dale Owen, harbored no such delusions, writing, "All cooperative schemes which provide equal remuneration to the skilled and industrious and the ignorant and idle must work their own downfall. For by this unjust plan they must of necessity eliminate the valuable members and retain only the improvident, unskilled, and vicious." Decades before Engels and Marx changed the world with their views on socialism, and a century before violent revolutions put socialism in power across the globe, America had already experimented with it and realized very quickly that it was doomed to failure.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
20 minutes northbound 4145 between the Zoo and Good Hope Road. Northbound 43, also 20 up to Brown Deer. Delays breaking after Keefe. 894 southbound jam from the Zoo all the way down to the Hale. That's a 10-minute trip. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Argo Glass and Windows.
No need to replace windows when you can repair them. Argo Glass and Windows, always offering free estimates. Rotted wood, foggy glass, hard to slide patio door. There's no need to replace if you can repair them. Visit ArgoWindowRepair.com.
When the temperature goes up, so do your expenses. More sunscreen, mist fans, and ice-cold adult beverages. Supplement your income by playing the nationwide Sizzlin' Summer Cash Contest. 9 times each weekday. Listen for a keyword to enter at newstalk1130.com, and you could win $1,000.
That would cover my beer tab at Summerfest, maybe.
The Sizzlin' Summer Cash Contest is presented by 13 North Kitchen and Cocktails on the river in Grafton. Bold flavors from scratch, exceptional service, relaxed atmosphere. 13northgrafton.com.
When starting a new home project, the first step is the hardest to take. Hi, Colleen here with Tri-County Contracting. And with Tri-County Contracting, the first step is super easy. Go to TriCountyContractingWI.com. You can fill out a short form requesting a free estimate. Amanda will give you a call and schedule a no-pressure appointment with you. Whether it's roofing, siding, windows, or all of the above, we have you covered. If you are looking for an even faster roof price, we also have our instant roof quote button. Name, address, and email address, and you have your price on the spot. Easy first step. Then, all the steps after that, we'll take care of those for you. Getting you an easy-to-read, clear proposal quickly comes next. Then we can help you pick colors using our showroom or project map on our website. We pull the permits, we take care of materials and disposal. Our trained and specialized crews and project managers take care of all the install and cleanup. For you, it's as easy as one step, and that step is easy. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows. Tri-County Contracting.
Golf, an enigma that delights one moment and haunts the next. For all things golf, listen to The Swing Doctor, where the PGA professionals from Morningstar Golfers Club offer insight on everything from the latest developments on tour to what's wrong with your putting stroke. The Swing Doctor, Sundays at 2 on WISN.
Welcome back to Ask Hasslis. I'm Weston. What's your question?
How do you get pee out of an old mattress?
Well,
I'm asking for a friend.
The best way to remove urine from a mattress is to trade in that old mattress for a new Beautyrest or Sealy Posturepedic.
But that'll cost a lot of money.
Not at Hasslis Mattress. Through Monday, trade in your old mattress and get additional savings of $248 off a queen and $348 off a king. And that's on top of our everyday low prices.
Come on, everybody says lowest prices.
Others sell a Sealy Posturepedic Queen Emeryville A mattress for $1,268. Hasslis sells it for $1,034. But through Monday, it's just $786. And check out the low prices on Beautyrest and more. Plus, free next day delivery.
What do what does my friend do with his old soaked mattress?
We haul it away for pee.
What was that?
Sorry, I meant for free.
Sure you did.
Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free showroom near you at Hasslis.com.
After 23 years in business, our flat fee commission structure for selling a home is more innovative than ever. Paul Leby here with Lake Country Flat Fee. Real estate commissions have been under attack this past year, and it's a wonder why it's taken so long. We always knew commissions have been on the high side in this business, and we have strived to create a better model for selling a home. Our sellers save about 50% versus a traditional 6% broker. To learn more or to schedule a free market analysis, visit our website at lakecountryflatfee.com.
Turning 65, new to Medicare, or just moved?
If you qualify for Medicare and Badger Care, a Humana dual eligible special needs plan, a D-SNP may give you the extra benefits you're looking for. A D-SNP helps cover things like prescriptions and checkups, but it also helps pay for essentials too. With a Humana D-SNP, you get $175 a month for eligible groceries, rent, utilities, and more. Plus, whatever you don't spend carries over to the next month. You may even get benefits like $0 copays on routine prescriptions, plus routine dental, vision, or hearing coverage. All of this could make a difference for your health and wallet. Learn more at gethumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a coordinated care PPO SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with Wisconsin Medicaid program. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal. Allowance amounts cannot be combined with other benefit allowances. Limitations and restrictions may apply.
Panic strikes as you realize on Wednesday that Thursday is your anniversary. The reservations being secured.
We'll see you at 8.
The gift being purchased. Yeah, you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with early pay up to 2 days early on direct deposits. So even though they call you Last Minute Lisa, we'll make your last minute scrambling a bit easier. You've got this with early pay from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
From iHeart Podcast. Before social media, before cable news, there was Alan Berg.
He was the first and the original shock jock.
That scratchy, irreverent kind of way of talking to people and telling them that you're an idiot and I'm going to hang up on you.
This is Live Wire, the loud life and shocking murder of Alan Berg.
And he pointed to the Denver phone book and said, well, there are probably 2 million suspects.
Open your free iHeartRadio app, search Live Wire, and listen now.
I always thought that was a fascinating story. The first time America experimented with socialism in its true form, I guess. There was a brief experiment, very, very brief, actually, at the Mayflower. The Mayflower Pilgrims experimented with it. This was immortalized in quite possibly my favorite Rush Limbaugh recurring bit, his story of the true story of the first Thanksgiving. He just took it directly from the governor of Plymouth Colony, William Bradford's journal. And they basically gave everybody land and they were going to share everything equally. Well, it took a grand total of about a month for the Pilgrims to realize this wasn't going to work. It wasn't until several centuries later that there was actually a full-fledged experiment with a what we would know as a modern socialist utopian community that also failed mightily. Forgotten History of America's first socialist experiment. It is its own standalone podcast, Forgotten History with Dan O'Donnell. Follow it, download it, subscribe to it, sign up for notifications so that you don't miss a single episode as soon as each one drops. Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Wander Franco. Does this name ring a bell to anybody? He was at one point a very, very good shortstop for the Tampa Bay Rays. His career was derailed, not by injury, not by ineffectiveness, but by the fact that he was having a sexual relationship with a 14-year-old girl when he was 21. Well, just a couple of minutes ago, he was found guilty of sexual abuse of a minor in the Dominican Republic. The story just posted by Jeff Passan, baseball writer for ESPN.com. He received a suspended 2-year prison sentence, although prosecutors sought a 5-year sentence. The judge said Franco would not serve further prison time unless he ran afoul of certain conditions, including not contacting minors with sexual intentions. I would just leave it as not contacting minors. Any intentions, I think, could possibly turn into sexual intentions for Wander Franco. The mother of the victim Martha Vanessa Chevalier Almonte was convicted of sexually trafficking her daughter and sentenced to 10 years in prison after prosecutors proved she sought financial gains from Franco and laundered money. Now, he is Franco, currently on Major League Baseball's restricted list for failure to report to the team. He's likely to have difficulty receiving a work visa in the United States because of the conviction. You think? If this was last year, I would say he should just try to run across the border and claim that if he goes back to the Dominican Republic, he will face, persecution like ramifications for the rape conviction. But this is a new era in America's immigration enforcement. Should he not be able to secure the visa? A suspended sentence, by the way, means you are sentenced to prison, but the judge, here we call it a stayed sentence. The judge just says, okay, we're suspending this sentence unless you do something like fail a drug test, like our friend Chicken P, the rapper, who's going to unfortunately have to miss his Summerfest gig because he might be going to prison for several decades for trafficking cocaine. If he's just put on ice in jail, would you say he's then frozen chicken? Or I can go all day with the Chicken P puns. I really can. MLB's investigation into Franco remains open. He could be further disciplined under the league's domestic violence, sexual assault, and child abuse policy. Social media posts in August of 2023, alleged that Franco had been in an inappropriate relationship with a teenage girl. He denied the allegations at the time. And MLB and the Players Association struck a deal to put him on paid administrative leave. He remained there until he was charged in July of last year, at which point MLB put him on the restricted list. Franco apparently met the girl online and had sex with her twice in December of 2022. Oh, my God. To see her in person, he would send helicopters or cars to pick her up near her hometown of Puerto Plata and bring her to his home in Bani. When police raided the girl's home, they found $68,000 in American cash and another $800,000 in Dominican pesos, around $13,000. Franco was at one point the top prospect in baseball. He debuted at 20 years old in 2021. He was an immediate star. Tampa Bay had signed him as a 16-year-old for $3.8 million. Following his second year, the Rays negotiated a long-term deal, the largest in franchise history. Before the allegations, he was in the midst of a breakout season in 23 and named an all-star for the first time. In an unrelated charge, he was also hit in June for illegal possession of a handgun after an altercation in a parking lot in San Juan de la Maguana. Man, you talk about having it all and throwing it all away for the stupidest possible, sickest possible reason. That is it. The worst villain in the story, easily the mother. She knew exactly what she was doing. I'm glad she got hit hard with the trafficking charges. Dan O'Donnell Show coming right back.
Dan O'Donnell will be right back.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
20 minutes northbound 4145 between the Zoo and Good Hope Road. Northbound 43, also 20 up to Brown Deer. Delays breaking after Keefe. 894 southbound jam from the Zoo all the way down to the Hill. That's a 10-minute trip. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by ExpressPros.com. Tired of feeling alone in your job search? With just one connection, you can find endless job opportunities. That connection is Express Employment Professionals. Don't go it alone. Visit ExpressPros.com to find the location nearest you. That's ExpressPros.com.
Dan O'Donnell here with my good friend Patrick Lynch from the Lynch family of dealerships.
Dan, it's great to be here.
Patrick, I've got to ask, how are tariffs affecting your business?
I get that question every day. I don't think the manufacturers have fully figured out how they're going to handle them, and they haven't passed anything on to us yet.
So what are your customers thinking about all this?
The reality is we're selling a lot of cars right now. I think the reason is that prices are substantially lower than they were 1, 2, or even 3 years ago.
Really?
Let me give you an example of what's happening today with rebates and discounts. A Silverado last year that was over $44K is now listed for $39,495.
Wow.
A Ford F-150 that was $52,500 is now $45,490 with incentives. A Jeep Gladiator that was listed at $60K, we now have advertised for $46,995.
So, Patrick, what you're saying is that contrary to what a lot of people think, it's actually a great time to buy a car. It's always a great time to visit my friends at Lynch. Start your journey at shoplynch.com.
You've got an app for your music, but what about your favorite morning show, sports team, or live local news and weather?
Things start to change.
Yep, there's an app for all that too. iHeartRadio. Download the #1 app for radio, the free iHeartRadio app.
Jay here, feeling a little silly that I'm finding joy in my new Comer and Cross garage floor. But I am. It was so stained and pitted that it made my entire garage ugly, even after I'd repainted. Now I show it off to guests. A new Comer and Cross floor really can transform your garage in just a single day, and right now you can get $750 off of their already low price. They make it so easy. Comer and Cross techs will take the stuff out of your garage for you, then fix the cracks and pitting perfectly before applying your gleaming new floor in a 6-step process that has become the gold standard. A Comer and Cross floor is guaranteed never to chip, crack, or show tire lift ever, unlike an epoxy or paint job. This is a restored floor done right. All of their installers are uniformed pros, no freelancers, big difference. Call Comer and Cross now for a quick and easy estimate. It takes $750 off of their already low price. Right now, 262-788-6430. That's 262-788-6430, or go to comercross.com.
The Census Bureau says more than 12,000 Americans turn 65 each day. It's a surge they call Peak 65, the highest number in history. Some Annex clients retire early. Some keep working because they love it. You know why? Because they've got custom plans built by fee-only fiduciaries. They identified their wants and needs, and we went to work. We want to do the same for you. Annex does financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Visit annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button. Erica, it's good to see you.
How are things at our amazing Germantown location? Absolutely fantastic.
We heard you had a bold idea. What is it?
We're celebrating our 45th year in business, so I think we should give away some natural diamonds.
Wow, that is a bold idea. How many and how big?
3/4 of a carat. 9 natural diamonds, each one clarity enhanced for maximum brilliance. 1 diamond for each store.
How should we mount them, Erica?
We'll give them away as diamond pendants.
So each of the 9 Kessler stores will have their own diamond pendant to give away?
Yeah, and all a person will have to do is to walk into a store and register to win.
Can a person travel to all 9 stores and register at each one?
Yeah, why not? And people will have from now until July 28th to register.
I'm in.
Me too. It's unanimous, and people should bring in all their old jewelry so that we can professionally clean it for them for free. That makes so much difference.
For the location of the Kesslers nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
I'm Fred Schwertfeger, president at Horicon Bank. We've been a family and employee-owned full-service community bank for over 125 years. Speaking of family, today I'm here with Horicon Bank's financial analyst and my sister, Alex Solanke, to talk about our noteworthy community involvement.
When it comes to connecting with our communities, Horicon Bank walks the walk. With 24 locations in 18 communities across Wisconsin, that's a lot of investment. From Appleton to Horicon to New Berlin, we can be found supporting fundraisers, art, nature, financial literacy, you name it.
Here in the Milwaukee area, we're involved with nonprofit organizations like WIBIC and the Milwaukee Parks Foundation. Visit the Milwaukee County Zoo's Flamingo Patio and you'll see Horicon Bank banners flying high as the proud sponsor.
Our vision is together doing good, and we are excited to be here doing good for our customers, employees, and communities. Fly higher with Horicon Bank, the natural choice. Stop by or learn more at horiconbank.com. Member FDIC.
follow up a disturbing story about a child sex predator Major League Baseball player with a sad story, but Bill Moyers has passed away. He was the press secretary and very, very, very close confidant to President Lyndon B. Johnson. And then he was a public television host for many years. He died of complications from prostate cancer at the ripe old age of 91. Johnson gave Moyers his start in politics. Moyers was still in college in 1954 when LBJ gave him a job in his Senate office. And this, according to, saw this on the Drudge Report, Archive Today. I don't even know what news source this is. Mr. Moyers arrived on Capitol Hill and, without even unpacking his bags, worked through the night addressing 275,000 envelopes using a foot-operated addressograph machine. By the end of the summer, he was handling Johnson's personal correspondence. Moyers became an ordained Baptist minister in 1954, found his way to the highest levels of government over the next 12 years. When Johnson was tapped in 1960 as Senator John Kennedy's running mate, Moyers became the liaison between the Johnson and Kennedy camps. Easily one of the most important figures in broadcasting and in politics. Yes, he was very obviously a Dem, very obviously lib for the time, but he was also a very talented broadcaster. And I actually grew up watching Bill Moyers on public television. Bill Moyers, dead. Moyers, dead at the age of 91. I'm pretty much out. I'm out of topics. No. I actually had like 15 things that I was considering doing there that I didn't have time to get to. I can remember when I was doing the morning show and I constantly said, I need 3 hours. I need a third hour to be able to get through all this stuff. I got a third hour. And now I'm like, I should just start doing what Belling used to do and just go until like 6:45 p.m. because I've got so much doggone content. Well, what we do is we cover a lot of the breaking news, like the Wander Franco story that broke 10 minutes before we covered it on the air. That's what I always try to do. As a result, I always try to be as timely as possible. I always try to bring as many exclusive stories to each show as possible. It means there's a lot of stuff that we just don't get to, but thankfully there's another show tomorrow. We are back with the Friday edition, How Bizarre and much more fun on the Dan O'Donnell Show, 3:06 tomorrow afternoon. Hopefully we will talk to you then.